Another day of practice is in the books for the Buffalo Bills. And for the latest on this morning, Sal Capaccio does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. Do stay tuned. We're going to touch base with Sal a little bit later on at 4. Before practice, though, it was special team coordinator Jeff Rogers' turn to speak with the media. And while we have not seen Tyler Bass kick yet at camp, Rogers did not seem overly concerned about his kicker.
He's working with 2 new holders right now. That's a part of that comfort, so it's going to be a rep thing. But he looks like he did on tape, and yes, he's kicked.
Coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. Buy Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy. Case What's Your Outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-MILLION. Ravens lock in wide receiver Zay Flowers to a 4-year, $140 million deal. $108 million of that is guaranteed, while the hold-in over in Atlanta does end with running back Bijan Robinson getting a 3-year deal worth up to $75 million. And that deal does make Robinson now the highest-paid running back in league history. For the Hall of Fame game, we do have our starting quarterback matchup. It's Kenny Pickett for Carolina. We learned that yesterday. And now today, rookie quarterback Carson Beck for Arizona. That game is on Thursday at 8 o'clock. Mets at the Guardians tonight at 6:40. The Yankees host St. Louis at 7:05. Then the Jays are at Houston at 8:10. While for the Bisons, they're on the road at Norfolk at 6:35. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I gotta wonder what kind of working relationship you'd have with Satan.
It's Mike Schopp.
I've often wondered that. He, they, I don't know what his pronouns are, or their pronoun. Anyway, Satan.
And the Bulldog.
What's the upside of doing well?
Well, maybe they're too busy making everyone else's life hell.
Oh, boy.
And
wow.
You might just be able to do your own thing if you're partnered with Satan.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
They're too busy, making Scott Norwood miss field goals.
Oh, come on.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
I'm just putting it out there. Devontae Smith and, by the way, Mekhi Lemon, Philadelphia wide receivers, have apparently hamstring injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina, already down Chris Brazzell, Nick Scourton, linebacker, someone else. Now, Xavier Legette got hurt today, and Jatavian Sanders, tight end. San Francisco, the substation, Christian Kirk, then Ricky Pearsall for the year, Kalen Black, Jordan James.
Mike Evans.
And Mike Evans, right.
Although he's old, and that just might be old. But
is anybody, just putting it out there, is it a good idea, a bad idea to whip out the reverse AFC power rankings, considering all the injuries to Philadelphia, Carolina, and San Francisco?
It hasn't been that much impactful.
I mean,
the 16 teams in the AFC.
We could get out the schedules and see who those teams play. The Bills don't play any of those teams. Are you excited about the Bills' NFC games this year? They're all at night, all 5.
Am I excited about
I love that about their schedule this year. Last year was the NFC South, and who cares?
I love about you that you, after what is today? Is today actually
10,000?
10,000
I think tomorrow is.
Okay,
because I know they've got balloons.
Oh, I hope we get a cake.
It'll be in the paper.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. All these years, you ask me questions like that, and you got it. I don't even know who they're playing in the NFC. I will look at it, but I don't.
But you do.
Sure.
I mean, if I asked you, if we did trivia, you would know.
Maybe.
You wouldn't necessarily know?
I know Minnesota, Green Bay, Chicago, like that division. Detroit is the home opener. So that, and the
Rams.
They're going to L.A. So, yeah, I mean, it's not that hard, but I needed to look.
Okay.
Silly,
well,
silly to look. Yeah, no, it's awesome, but all those teams are good to great, I think.
Well, yeah.
And that's a super cool opportunity. Those will be games with a ton of eyeballs on them, although I don't know Bills Jets probably gets a lot of eyeballs because of Josh Allen, but I don't know.
So listen, 8 years ago is the last time the NFC North was in the rotation with the same teams being at home for those games.
Mm-hmm.
So you had the Bears here, you had the Lions here. When was that? You had at Green Bay, at Minnesota. This is Allen as a rookie.
Right.
We're all the way around now.
That's a cool piece of this.
So he went to Minnesota in his second start, and the Bills were 17-point underdogs and won easily, which was shocking. Like, that was just not what we were expecting.
It's funny, I don't think a lot about that as a coming out party because the season was pretty uneven, and even 19, they weren't great, nor was he. Like 20 is when they became. I feel like the Dallas Thursday, the Thanksgiving game in Dallas in 19 is like, hey, I'm a freak show. And that carried over into 20, and he just took off from there. 18, I don't think we still knew. It was super cool, though. Like, the reason I'm saying this the way I am about breakout is he leapt over a linebacker in a single bound in that
Anthony
Minnesota
Barr.
game. And also had like a Superman touchdown at the corner.
Yep.
Like the pylon, like with the ball extending and the whole thing. And both of those did not serve notice that he was going to be great, but they certainly told you that athletically he was capable of some really big things.
That's right. The next week they went to the Packers, and they got shut out. And there was a play where he was like dropping back and dropping back.
Scrambled out to his right and then just like chucked it back to like the goal line in the middle of the field. And those of you watching on YouTube just got a good show, I think. I did a pretty good job, I think, of that. It was pretty good.
It was like a bout clip.
That's kind of what it looked like. Yeah. Oh, sure.
Allen to throw. It's floating.
Right.
And it's floating.
Right.
And it's caught.
I don't think it quite got to end over end, but it was, it was an ugly duckling type of throw that just was like, oh, dude, no.
Bears here, week 9, hilarious. Allen misses, injured. It's Peterman. Because we can't quit Nathan Peterman. We eventually did.
Yeah.
Sean McDermott eventually did quit Nathan Peterman. Whatever Peterman had on him, I guess it must have been settled out of court, and McDermott stopped putting him on the field. But that one was the game where there was the last play of the half, and they snapped it at like the Bears 40, and Peterman ran for like 30 yards. Looks great on the stats.
Right.
41-9, Chicago.
Yeah.
The Detroit game I do not remember at all. Week 15, I might have been off. I think if I were working, I'd remember it for something.
What was the score of the game?
14-13 Bills. I have anything from that game. Nothing. So that's 8 years ago, and this is.
All right, I like that. I like that aspect of this. Now I like your question even more. I didn't dislike it. I just think it's funny that you asked me a question like that because I got to look at the schedule to tell you who they're playing.
Well, all I'm saying is, this is fluid. And in 2018, when the Bills lucked into the playoffs to break the drought the year before and then dumped Tyrod Taylor and, went forward with Allen, there was nothing special about it. Like the Packers would have been special for actually Bills fans going to Lambeau Field to see the Bills, which hasn't been possible that many times. This year it is again. Minnesota's fine. Chicago, Detroit, whatever. Like it was in 2018, those teams really didn't, to us, really mean anything.
The Packers would have been the only team that was any good if that was a good Rodgers year there. But
maybe, yeah.
The other three were kind of doormats, I think.
I don't know. I have to look that up. Let's see. Chicago won the division by a lot.
Oh, okay.
12-4.
Wow. With who? 8 years? Who the heck was their quarterback?
Trubisky.
Wow. All right, yeah, that's right. There were a couple of good years in there with him. But Detroit
they lost that double doink playoff game.
All right.
That year.
Detroit was still sort of up and down, riding the Matthew Stafford experience.
Even though you loved him.
I always loved him. Yeah, still do.
Still do. Well, now he's the reigning MVP.
Yeah.
So it's easier. Yeah, you get what you get. With the NFC South, it seems to always be nothing. There's never any sex appeal with the NFC South. At least I don't think so. In last year's schedule was the AFC South, right?
Yes. No.
AFC North.
Yeah, they didn't. They played Houston, but not anybody else.
Right. AFC North, that's exciting. I think those are always good,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah.
Those are good rivalry games.
Yeah, it's
Cincinnati, Cleveland,
geographically,
Pittsburgh, Baltimore.
kind of cool. Yeah.
But NFC North this year, as it happens, those are all in prime time. And then so is the Ram game in Week 5 in L.A. So your 5 NFC games are all night games this year. I wasn't trying to make a big point.
No, I know, but I like that it's like a return. It's Allen. It's a return to Allen's rookie year, is what I mean. When you asked the question and then you got to that, I'm like, yeah, that is kind of it's cool to have him go back to these places that he has only been once.
So it's year 9.
Right.
We're already to year 9.
Yeah.
Or this is where I say we're not quite there yet. Soon we'll be there. We're almost to year 9.
Right.
Week 1 will be there, but not quite yet. Well, if you want to do, even though all those injuries seem to be NFC injuries, I still think, it is Tuesday. It must be Brussels.
We are, it's close enough to the season.
Let's go. Reverse AFC Power Rankings powered by Empire Electric, your local residential electrician. Visit empireelectricians.com. All right. I wasn't sure, so I didn't write it. Now I'm going to start to write it. August 4th. Will it be identical to last week? I think it might be mostly, because there hasn't been really a lot of news.
No.
Family Jewels news yesterday.
Yeah, that doesn't really move the meter.
Didn't do anything.
No.
Ray Davis today got right back out there.
Right. We had brawling, or not brawling, but whatever.
Had a fight.
Pushing, shoving.
Kincaid, our delicate flower.
Posturing. Get off our guy! A lot of that.
A special effort to protect Kincaid, perhaps?
No, I think they would have done that if it was Kaliki Latu.
Really?
Yeah, there's football players. They're just dying for a reason.
All right.
They got the pads on. The pads are, what the pads are doing?
Popping.
Pads are popping. Yes.
16.
Miami.
Again, I want to think about it just to see if there's any justification to not put Miami there. Yeah, I'm done. Miami.
Okay. I appreciate you doing the work.
They don't have to be the worst team in the conference,
if
but
pensively looking up at the clock for 20 seconds was considered work. That was what you did there.
I just sort of stared into space, into the reflection of the tree behind me.
The tree.
And I'm wondering what these guys are doing in the hallway, because I don't think anybody realizes that they can be heard. The whole premise of the studio is that you can't hear out there, and they can't hear any. But it's not true.
We can.
I can hear that office. I can hear that, and when Brayton is anywhere, I can hear Brayton.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
I've noticed that over the years.
15.
I gotta say Jets today. That might be a change. I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it from Geno Smith. I know it's just practice, but I don't know. I don't think that's gonna work.
I'll give you 3 reasons to put the Jets here. Frank Reich, Adam Gase, Greg Roman. What are you thinking? I know we're going to have Leberfeld on again. He's going to talk up what a great idea Frank Reich is. I'll believe it when I see it. Mm-hmm. Ian Hartitz was on today talking about how Stanford did under him. I know, sacrilegious, right? Because we love Frank Reich.
Yeah.
But he went to Stanford to be an interim coach, and they were one of the worst offenses in all of college football. Wouldn't you think maybe NFL player, quarterback, multi-time NFL coach
might get you some
might
kind
be
of
able
an
to get to
edge.
the middle?
Yeah.
Did not happen.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
Yeah, I'm just not. I don't know. And the one of the tight ends is
hurt,
dinged up.
That's right.
Sadiq, right? There is
Kenyon
AFC.
Sadiq.
There is AFC injury news.
Yeah, they're talking about maybe we'll see if he makes it to week 1.
Right.
Kenyon Sadiq.
Yeah.
Great athlete profile out of Oregon. I don't like drafting him, though. I'd rather draft Eli Raritan at a much cheaper price, if you know, you know, from yesterday's show. 14.
Cleveland feels appropriate.
I'll
here.
say Tennessee.
I'll go Cleveland. Every highlight I see from Shedeur Sanders is painful.
Could be Gabriel. 13, Tennessee.
Sure. Yeah.
12, Steelers.
Yeah, I was going to say Pittsburgh.
11.
The Raiders.
This is where we're really sort of in the rut.
Yep.
Raiders at 11, which is much better than their record would suggest.
Yeah, they
should be.
They were tied for last in the conference at 3-14 last year.
New quarterback, rookie. Eventually he'll play.
New veteran quarterback too. Yeah.
That too. Genty, Bowers. And Max Crosby went back there, if you want that, after going to Baltimore. Then he was returned.
Right.
In a
The
self-addressed
box
stamped
is all
envelope.
sort of dented up. The tape's not holding the box together anymore. That's Max Crosby.
You can send him back, but I am not paying for the shipping. 10.
Indianapolis?
Every time. I don't know what else to do.
Yep.
I even drew a line on the sheet. And yesterday I looked at it walking back in the room at one point, like, why did I draw a line there? Doesn't really make sense. You draw a line above 7 maybe. That's the playoff line.
Yeah.
But because 10 is always Indianapolis. I don't even think there's an argument for Indianapolis at 11.
Probably not.
Who liked them recently on our show? Aaron?
Warren Sharp, I think, did a piece or like a thread about scripted play calls, and their guy is top notch.
Steichen. Okay.
At that. But they haven't really been able to figure out the rest. But he's
I have an idea for him.
He's extreme. Do that for the whole game.
Right. Script all the play calls.
Why not?
Just write it. Don't overthink it.
Can't you? Couldn't you, like, put into a database, like, okay, tie score, up 3, down 3, up 7, down 7, up 10, down 10, and just have scripts like that and just pour them out.
You're going to hate this, but I think I'm right. We're probably at a point where every team should do that. AI play calling.
Right.
We're probably at that point. It'd be better than the people. Sadly.
Probably, yeah.
It probably would be better than the coaches.
Yeah.
Takes me back to Ben Lindbergh's book with Sam Miller. The only rule is it has to work, where two baseball smarties got their hands on a minor league team and were able to do whatever they wanted, and they called pitches from a computer. Because try to guess, batter. Try to predict what I'm going to throw here. You can't.
Try to find my pattern.
Like
Right.
playing rock, paper, scissors against a computer. There's no element of, patterns.
Right.
I remind me to get back to this later. I got a story.
Okay.
It's funny to me. Let's rip through it. All right, Indianapolis, 9. This is the spot.
Houston.
Cincinnati.
Ooh, well, I got to say Houston.
Joe Burrow under center.
Yeah.
8. Give me the negative 78-point differential Bengals with a
Cincinnati.
healthy Burrow.
All right.
He was healthy last year, wasn't he?
I can't do anything about it. No, Flacco.
No, he played
Flacco,
he only played half the games. You're right.
Flacco. Yeah.
Flacco.
I won a big parlay on Flacco, right? That was with them, right?
It was a primetime
Yeah.
game, yeah.
Yeah. Steelers.
Pittsburgh game?
Yeah. I just make Cleveland and Cincinnati, the colors, the division. I just making, and Flacco has been in both places.
Yes, last year.
Yeah.
I think he was in both places. Right, Bengals, Steelers. That was the jackpot. Who were the tight ends? Washington, Freiermuth. Who was the Bengals tight end that was unbelievable to catch a touchdown pass?
Was it no, not Gesicki.
No, it was somebody even
Yeah.
more incredible.
I don't remember.
7.
It was a great win, though.
It was an all-timer.
Everybody
for
in
you.
my family still talks about it, and by that I mean they have no idea it happened.
Just as well.
Yeah.
Drew Sample. Tanner Hudson. Fant. It was Fant.
It was Noah Fant. Yeah, thank you.
All right, 7.
Uh,
Chargers.
okay, sure. Yeah, good.
6.
It's Jaguars.
All right.
I'm shaking things up.
I'll say Jacksonville. What if they won?
Absolutely nothing ever.
Right.
There was some, at least in my social media feed, there was some Brian Thomas positivity today.
Was there?
Is there a one-handed catch in there?
I didn't see a one-handed catch. Maybe that's what the highlight was,
Maybe.
but the caption was just like, when he's going, look out for us, kind of thing. I think it was the team, maybe.
May have been the team.
That would be a weird thing for a reporter to say.
These gloves, how do you ever drop a pass, even with one hand? The gloves. We've been on that story a long time.
Mm-hmm.
We were ahead of the curve on that. The gloves. Listen for one announcer this year to mention the gloves. You won't hear it. You might hear references to Fred Biletnikoff caking his entire uniform in Stickum and how illegal that was. You will not hear anything mentioned about the increasing technology of gloves.
Lester Hayes.
5.
New England.
Kansas City.
Kansas City.
I got to admit, I kind of forgot about the Chiefs.
5, I think, is a good middle ground for them. 4.
I'm going to stay with New England.
The Bills have no claim to be below New England. I'll say Bills.
I'll go New England.
Okay. What an argument I made. 3.
It's the DJ Moore bump now.
I'm okay. I'm okay with Bills here.
You wouldn't trade DJ Moore for A.J. Brown right now?
Of course I would.
Depends on the knee.
No,
2.
there is always that.
We're down to Denver and Baltimore. Baltimore. They did it again.
What am I doing?
You started to say Baltimore at 7.
I know. And they're 2 now?
2. Denver at 1. Third week in a row. Congrats to Denver. Winners of the Reverse AFC Power Rankings, powered by Empire Electric. Your local neighborhood electricians. Visit empireelectricians.com.
A weekly exercise that the three of us are squarely in control of should not ever end up in such a frustrating fashion. But yet here we are. Like I'm mad. That mad is strong. I'm frustrated.
You're going to be fine in like 1 minute.
That's absolutely right.
You're going to be over it.
Yeah. No, I will gather my wits.
Look at all this stuff around here. I mean, this place. Here's a pen. Here's another pen. Here's a highlighter. Here's a Sharpie. Here's a roll of duct tape meant to reflect the exact color of the new Bills jerseys. We got that. We got a little.
Good thing that duct tape was around. You've got that. They're still holding your headphones together.
I know, right? We got this thing.
Yeah. I put that back on while you were gone last week, and it came off again.
Fell right off.
Apparently,
it
comes off all the time. We got these guys. I don't know. These are like little. My parents, my mom. I'm assuming this was a mom production, not a dad production. There's 2 of them.
One of each.
Like a mirrored. I don't even know what this is called. Display case. I don't know. It's furniture, wall. I don't know. Shelves, a mirror behind it, and like little glass figurines in there. My mom would buy on vacations. Something from Nashville, something from Florida, like little mementos. And I think she still has them all there, and that's what these guys remind me of. These are like little glass Buffalo Bills figurines, I guess. There's no team logos on them, although
No, that wouldn't be allowed.
there is a number 17 on this bigger guy.
I think the number is public domain,
That's right.
just not the logo.
Right.
I was in a restaurant
I do have
recently
those.
where they have a picture of Allen, the play against San Francisco, diving to the
Yeah.
pylon. But no, you just can't have the logo on there. I guess you can use his likeness. I guess, most people probably rather get ask for forgiveness than permission. You just sort of put it up. You get the cease and desist letter and you take it down.
Right.
You just
Yeah.
whatever. Feels like 2 out of every 3 T-shirts I see seems like a copyright infringement. But
Yes.
That's why I never buy one. But I don't have to be right about that. I just know I haven't bought any T-shirts. This one I bought at the Maui Aquarium. Still waiting for the trinket in the mail from the
For
Maui
them to
Aquarium.
acknowledge that you're
The stream is so big. I
repping
mean,
the
where are
Maui
they?
Aquarium.
They're not even noticing.
Right.
Which is like 1 a.m. there or something. Maybe not exactly. 9:30, 9:24, 6 hours. Will Graves from the AP in Pittsburgh coming up. Sal Capaccio as well with another training camp recap. We'll get into some Steelers and some AFC North with Will after this timeout. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
For more comfort.
Now's the perfect time to make yourself comfortable with a new electric heating and cooling system from Belknap.
In Western New York, summer and winter bring extreme temperature conditions. Make yourself comfortable with Mitsubishi electric heat pumps, designed to keep your home cool in the summer and warm in the winter, no matter how hot or cold it gets outside. Call Belknap today to learn more.
I'm Gary Garfel, president of Belknap. We work on your schedule. We don't charge more for weekends and evenings. That's why we say,
give Belknap a ring.
Find it. Just go to my look. This won't be hard. Just search it. Just like, hello, phone. Where is Mighty Ducks Game Changers? Like Disney Plus. Great. Look how easy that was. Go to Disney Plus. Not there. Only the trailer.
Oh boy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All the other Mighty Ducks things are there. The
one
show
thing
has
she
never
wants-
sounded older. The
Yeah,
show has
I know.
The best. Now I'm going to get defensive. Just point out that my daughter is 13. All right. I mean, I can't be that old if I'm not Larry King. Now the show really sounds old. Who's that? Seattle. Has the show ever sounded older? Seattle in the NBA Finals.
Minus.
I like this point. F minus to me seems like just, like a cartoon.
Right.
Not a real.
Yeah,
F is the lowest.
Yeah, it was like Bugs Bunny, the teacher. Like, what are we doing here?
F minus.
The show ever sounded older.
The Bengals food.
See, kids, Bugs Bunny was a cartoon character. I did see the Scouts play in Buffalo. Yeah, I saw a Kansas City Scouts game. Has the show ever sounded older?
Well, I'm going to be mad about this, but I'm not going to sacrifice my jersey number for it. Matthew Golden, that's taking it pretty seriously. So I went through thinking about numbers.
I think I like 22 on a wide receiver.
Bob Hayes.
Yeah, works.
Hey, can you think of another one?
No. That's why I like it.
Has the show ever sounded older?
To me, 22 doesn't strike me. Well, I mean, certainly Bob Hayes. It does not strike me as a slow number. It's one of the. He was like an Olympic 100-yard dash champion.
That
right?
was his brand.
Has the show ever sounded older?
I think. And that, because 24 and 16, 192. The show has never sounded older than that as a pitching stat line for a season. 24 and 16,
right.
192, 41 starts, 20,
40 decisions.
40 decisions, 29 complete games. How many leads the league now? 5?
3, 5? Yeah, I don't know. It's so rare.
This song, by the way, Austin Powers theme. I had this song on my answering machine. Has the show ever sounded older than a reference to my answering machine? I made this little bit, basically, of I'm talking and in and out with clips of the movie and everything with that song behind it. I did that.
That probably wasn't annoying at all to reach that.
You get that. You got to sit there for like 45 seconds to hear me perform.
Yeah, no good. No good. Probably got a lot of hang-ups. Yeah.
Well, that was the point.
Well, all right. Then, well executed.
You have to earn it. You have to sit through my stuff, and then you then can leave me a message.
I am 100% sure I, at some time or another, held that answering machine up to a speaker of a stereo system trying to get like a specific part of a song onto my, greeting. And I don't know if it ever worked or not. Anybody who would ever remember having called me would have to tell me, because it's very possible I just never got the result I wanted and then gave up. But I just remember fooling around with those tiny little tapes.
Oh yeah,
those tiny little tapes
that go into the machine.
Yeah, so
super small.
Such an antiquated technology
tiny tapes.
We're talking about here. Tiny,
smaller than
tapes.
the DAT tapes.
Yes, by almost half, I would say.
Digital audio. You know the word, Parker. The throw, if you don't know it, 79 All-Star game. The throw from right field in the Kingdome. The Kingdome is the show ever sounded older than the Kingdome reference.
I want to go out there and play free and wants everybody to eat. So that's his mentality. If Josh is having fun, the whole team is having fun and thriving. It's just like we've been together for 9 years. Like we was on separate teams, but now it just feels like we've been together for 9 years, and it's just like perfect fit.
Denniston Moore Jr., better known as DJ Moore. It's all one big family over there. Dawkins talking about Gardner Johnson, and he can be himself. The vibes. And it didn't even rain today out there in Rochester.
Not only didn't it rain, it looked like a beautiful day.
Yes, it did. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Our friend now with us on the West Shore Hotline, Will Graves from the AP in Pittsburgh. My late great friend, Rick Woodson. Maybe you even knew him, Will, if you go back a ways, Buffalo-Rochester ties, if you have that. Woodson, and I never knew if he was like being profound or being sarcastic or what, but he would say, when you work with words, words are your work. And I learned a new word today from Will Graves, thud, as in thud up. Did you know thud up in your headline? Is that new to you?
No, that is to be honest with you, that is a Mike Tomlinism. At least that's who I heard say it first. I'm sure it's probably been in the vernacular for a while. But this might have been 10, 12 years ago, mid-season. They're having a tough time tackling that year for whatever the issue was. And so, the familiar stories, I think everybody that covers the league has written this at least once a season. How do you fix tackling when you don't practice tackling? And they're, the coaches have responded by saying, well, we hit, we just don't drop. And so thud is sort of the shorthand for that. Thud up means just we intend to beat the crap out of each other. We're just not going to take each other to the ground.
Touch football is a 1. Full-on tackle football is a 10. Thud is maybe like a 4. Maybe, right?
I would put it more towards like a 7. I would say right. when done correctly, it's a 7.
Okay.
Proper thudding would be a 7. All right. Yeah.
You have to know how to thud.
Like I could erect you, but I'm not going to because we're teammates. So
we're both rich, and we want to keep getting rich. So let's not hurt each other when it doesn't matter. I mean, that's what we're really talking about here.
Well, Will, we've all been around the league a long time. What's your perspective on this continued evolution in one direction with training camps? I think, there are exceptions, but you've got like more and more. Bill's camp is like 8 days even. Like it's just so short, and teams moving away from colleges back to their own facilities. Not that that's the same point, but is it just sort of a, if you will, a necessary evil in the sport because we still have injuries all the time?
Right. I mean, it doesn't mean guys can't tear their Achilles dropping back to pass or whatever. I mean, obviously non-contact injuries are prevalent, especially this time of year. If you look at the rest of the other major sports, to be honest with you, I think what the NFL does is sort of, in alignment with what the NBA does, what Major League Baseball does. I mean, the people in Pittsburgh this year, Pirates in contention. They're at least not, they're semi-competent. People are concerned about Paul Skeens, their great pitcher who's having a down year compared to his standards. And sort of the concern is the origin of the concern is that because he pitched in the WBC for Team USA, meaning he ramped up earlier than he normally would have during a regular spring training, which is very methodical, very slow. And to be honest with you, like, they make it a point to not overtax these guys. Some people are pointing to the fact that he was at 100% velocity in mid-March as the reason that he's sort of struggling here, again, by his standards. So, I think what the NFL does, I mean, let's be honest, these guys make a lot of money. The NBA, you see it all the time. I mean, how many preseason games do you think Wemby's going to play next year? How many preseason games is LeBron going to play next year? Like, not a lot, right? I think the NFL has just figured out, hey, these guys are paid to play on the Sundays in the fall. And look, if the guys on the bottom 20% of the roster want to beat the snot out of each other to get one of those, the 41 through 53 spots on the roster, like, that's fine. But it seems to me the MO is to protect, the top 41 spots. And let's be honest, I mean, a lot of these guys, heck, they're in the facility in March. They're in the facility in April. It is increasingly becoming a 12-month-a-year sport. And, some guys will go on breaks for 2 months, and that doesn't happen anymore, right? I mean, it's 3-4 weeks, and then you're sort of already preparing for the next season. So, I mean, I think this is just the evolution. The economics are such that if you have your $50 million a year edge rusher tear his labrum because he's tackling a backup running back on a drill on a college field in August, people are going to lose their mind, and rightfully so, to be honest with you. So I think that this is just what the NFL is doing is just sort of what all the other sports are doing. It's just that the regular season and the postseason is what matters, and this is becoming less a rite of passage as it is sort of a chore.
Will Grays from Pittsburgh from the Associated Press on the Western Hotline with us. You mentioned Tomlin in your first response about Thud. And so similar situation. I mean, Tomlin was in Pittsburgh a lot longer than Sean McDermott was here, but we're going through a first training camp in a long time here, 9 years, without the same guy at the top, at least of the coaching staff. And same goes there with Mike McCarthy in place of Tomlin. Just asking you, what are the differences? I feel like you might be able to talk for 45 minutes. So I don't know. Are there a few?
I mean, it's a culture shock for the players, for the staff, for the people at St. Vincent College, for the media. I love the fact. I mean, candidly, McCarthy loves to have practices earlier in the day, and I was trying to pin him down, thinking it was heat related, and it's not. It's so that it gives him and the staff more time in the afternoon to review film. Post-practice before they have their meetings, before dinner, right? Like that's what it's about. It's about giving them more time to study.
Makes sense.
Highly detail-oriented. The pace is quicker, to be very clear, than it was during Tomlin's era. And the vibe is McCarthy is just a different guy. I mean, look, I got here in 2011. I'd only known Mike Tomlin training camps. You kind of knew within 3 seconds and when you got out on the field where he was at any given moment. And, like, there are times where McCarthy is so low-key that you forget that you forget that he's out there. That's not a shot. That's just he is who he is. He's a low-key guy. And, he's a professional. He's got an older team. He's treating this professionally. And, that would be my biggest takeaway. It's just that the intensity is not as high yet. I mean, that doesn't mean it can't shift, but it's very much sort of like, let's just get our work in, let's be competitive, and then let's go, have a snack and watch film and get ready to do it tomorrow. I mean, I would say there is an emotion. If I had to nail it down to one thing, there is a lack of an emotional component at this juncture. Like, that is the only thing. But that is more reflective of the coaches' personas than it is maybe what they're actually doing on the field.
A couple of things come to mind here. You often see, we've talked about this in the Bills case, Will, like you often see teams in sports replace their coach with someone in certain obvious ways very different, whether that's their area of expertise or their style or their age, things like that. You have replaced a Super Bowl winning coach with another one, which is tough to do. But the Steelers have done that. The disposition might be very different. I wonder, too, if it's the guys in the media and the staff and the people around the Steelers who might be more, well, sometimes anyway, jarred by the change than the players themselves. I mean, players are used to having different coaches. They change teams, college to pro, and none of them was there in 2011. So, I'm not sure if it's as big of an adjustment for players as we might make it seem.
Well, I mean, I think there's for the more established guys on the team, the T.J. Watts and the Cam Haywards of the world, it is more of a shift. I will say that it is an evolution too. I mean, the guys on offense are thrilled because they finally have a guy, that's running the show that is an offensive first guy. Mm-hmm. And for so long, from Tomlin to Cowher to Noel, so much of the way the Steelers were built and, sort of the expertise of the man on top on down was on defense, right? So this is a kind of a shift for the organization. And I think that's especially when you talk to the skill position guys. I mean, there seemed to be some consternation among the fan base when McCarthy was hired, even though he has local ties. I mean, guys who grew up literally the street he grew up on, you can see the Steelers practice facility from that house. But they were concerned, well, you're basically just trading one guy that was good but not great for another. And I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, but the guy's good. I mean, his teams have been very, very good historically. He's had maybe 2 bad seasons out of 20. That's pretty good. I don't know who you're going to find. That doesn't mean that they're going to be great this year necessarily, but you could do a lot worse. And, I do think for the players, it's a breath of fresh air. But, again, Mike Tomlin is so charismatic and is such a force of nature that it's just a different that would, to me, to be the most jarring thing is sort of, I mean, what did T.J. Watt told a story the other day about how, they were doing a drill. It was early-ish in his career. And, he sees Tomlin in the hallway afterwards, and he knew he screwed something up, and Tomlin says nothing to him, and, they're just chit-chatting. And they got to the film session 20 minutes later, and all Tomlin did for, the first 5 minutes was tear Watt up, basically just ripping him. Not in a way that in the way that Mike Tomlin does it, which is really funny and really sarcastic, but making a point, right? And the players were always sort of on edge because that was, he was always watching me. I mean, guys, this is a coach that I'm not kidding. So part of my gig is I'm very fortunate. I go to the Olympics every 2 years. Mm-hmm. In 2024, I was in Paris at the Olympics covering the games. I get home. I finally drag myself to practice. The first time out, and they music over the loudspeakers. I'm the first one in there and it's the song that Celine Dion sang at the opening ceremonies, which, to be very clear, is much different than the playlist at a typical Pittsburgh Steelers practice.
I bet.
And I was told, and Mike didn't say anything to me. I asked around, and somebody said, "Oh, Will, Mike knew you were back today," and that's what that music was for. That is so. To be very clear, that Mike T was you could think he wasn't watching, but he was always watching. And I don't know if McCarthy operates quite like that. Not that he's not observant, but not in that sort of I'm going to mess with you sort of vibe, right? And I think that is probably the biggest adjustment. But when you look at the staff that he's brought in, Patrick Graham as a defensive coordinator, some of the other guys, I mean, these are guys with long track records of being successful in this league. I think there is a sense of confidence in the staff, but just curiosity on sort of how it's going to unfold. But I think that, the players, I hate the term buy-in. I mean, look, what other job are you going to have in your life that's going to pay you this kind of money? You're bought in. Everybody's bought in. Okay, let's be very clear. So I sort of dismiss that when people say whether they're bought in or not. Look, it's in everybody's best interest to be bought in. But I do think there is a level of confidence in this staff as a first-year staff, as opposed to if they had hired some 34-year-old wonderkin who was kind of going through this for the first time. That's not the case with Mike McCarthy and most of the guys on his staff. And because of that, I think there is a quiet confidence that these guys know what they're doing, and they will be competitive when things actually start to count.
It's a compliment to you, of course. I like the idea of mixing the music up like that anyway. Like, if whether you had somebody at World Cup this year, this was Tomlin who's gone, but if you had somebody at World Cup, you come back and you get that Shakira song, like, man, I'd be ready to go. I'd listen to that. That'd inspire me. I missed that, actually, from World Cup. Quickly, Will, we got about 3 minutes. Michael Pittman, I love the fit. What about you?
He's a great dude. I can tell you that. This guy owns farms and doesn't own them as an investment, owns them and does work on them, right? I think, look, they needed a professional opposite DK Metcalf to sort of look. I don't think that Pittman is not a guy that's going to go off for 10 for 225 and 3 touchdowns, but he is going to make. He's a big guy. He knows what he's doing. He's reliable, and they needed that opposite DK Metcalf. We saw at times last year. There's a reason. It's you talk about where the offense was at last year and the fact that Kenny Gainwell was the team MVP, who was basically just sort of this isn't disrespectful. He was more of a situational back than an every down back. He succeeded every time he was on the field, but that just tells you they could not really figure out who they were as an offense. They could not figure out how to get DK open because frankly teams are like, well, Calvin Austin doesn't scare me. Nobody else on this offense scares me. I'm just going to cover this 6'4" guy. So Pittman is a good fit, and I think he benefits from this sort of West Coast, get the ball out quick and let them go do their thing, more than most. So I think he's going to be a good fit, and he's definitely going to be a good guy in the room, which is certainly what they need.
How does Rodgers look so far to you?
They're going at about 33% capacity, but look, the arm talent last year. It was there, right? It was the thing was, can they protect him, and how keen is he on getting hit? Entering year 21, he's the most sacked quarterback in NFL history. At times, he looked like the guy who had taken a few too many hits. I think the reality is, if they protect him, he's a smart guy. He can beat defenses with his mind. He and McCarthy are very happy to be reunited and have the opportunity to give Aaron this swan song. He's highly motivated to go out on a positive note. So I think that he's going to be fine. Is he going to be great? I think for them to play deep into January and early February, he needs to be great. I don't know if he has that in him, but he certainly he's going to be competitive. I don't know if he's going to be great, but he's going to be competitive. And I think, how many 42-year-old quarterbacks can say that? Not many.
Thank you, Will. Kind of short notice. Always appreciate your time and insight.
Yep. See you guys.
Bye-bye. Will Graves from the AP in Pittsburgh. Ole, 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 ole. You don't miss that? I love that. I wanted to be at the beginning of every game to be able to hear that. I've got into it right from name any 2 countries. I'm in. Let's go. Same song, then the anthems, the big flags. Let's get that thing back, that World Cup. Let's get that going again.
I did really enjoy it. And I don't know about the ole ole, but the flags, the marching, the fans in the cities, all of it, some of the settings, it was a great watch.
Bulldog not aware that hips don't lie, apparently, but we'll get there with Bulldog, right? Everybody.
Shakira.
Sal at 4. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. That was Will Graves. This is WGR. And Aaron Rodgers, to me, seemed like a great fit. Rodgers does not want to get hit. He's going to throw the ball short all the time, and that's Pittman. And his running backs, Jalen Warren. Metcalf is dicey because Metcalf is, big play down the field guy, and I don't know how much to expect there. The Bisons host Norfolk this week, starting tonight. Listen, Norfolk is terrible, Bulldogs. Time to eat.
Let's go, Bisons.
Thank you.
I want to feel some Bison thunder.
Sal is next from Rochester. Stay tuned.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. coaster.
Another day of practice is in the books for the Buffalo Bills. For the latest on this morning, Sal Capaccio does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. And do stay tuned. We're going to touch base with Sal coming up next. But before practice today, it was special teams coordinator Jeff Rogers, his turn to speak with the media. And while we have not seen Tyler Bass kick yet at camp, Rogers did not seem overly concerned about his kicker.
He's working with 2 new holders right now. That's a part of that comfort. So it's going to be a rep thing. But he looks like he did on tape. And yes, he's kicked.
Coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Figo Car and Joyce, your border attorneys, by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-million. Ravens lock in wide receiver Zay Flowers to a 4-year, $140 million deal. $108 million of that is guaranteed, while the hold-in over in Atlanta ends with running back Bijan Robinson getting a 3-year deal worth up to $75 million. That deal does make Robinson the highest-paid running back in league history. But bad news in Atlanta, as their second-year pass rusher Jalen Walker is feared to have torn his ACL earlier today. Walker is having an MRI to confirm. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
I guess it's still far enough away from the season for me to feel like it's okay to start a conversation with Sal about special teams. We do have the special teams coach, the coordinator, Rogers, speaking today. And, I don't know. We need Sal here. Well, we often do. It's such a what is the deal here with Tyler Bass? What can he not be exposed to sunlight? Is there some reason why we can't? The media can't see Tyler? Is it normal, Sal? I shouldn't even really load the question because maybe there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for this, but I know how last year was, and when was it where we're sort of all talking the same way? Oh, there's no problem, and then he just sort of was done.
For the whole year.
Yeah, so what are you thinking here?
I think it's very strange.
Okay, good.
I don't think it's normal at all. I think everything from him personally to the fact that the larger point of we have yet to see any sort of field goal, kickoff, field goal or extra point team do any work. I've never seen that before through a week of training camp. I mean, even usually by now you get all right, let's work fire drill. Let's work fire drill, right? You got to get down and there's no timeouts left. You can't spike the ball. You got to get the team ready and run on. A lot of times you end practice with that. Right. Nothing. We haven't seen anything like that. So I think it's strange, but it's obviously calculated. So even though I think it's strange, there's something that they believe, some sort of way advantage that they're getting in preparation for their season by doing it this way. And Tyler Bass is one of the people, obviously, who's a big part of this because we haven't seen him kick in a year. And Jeff Rogers today said, we go step by step with it, try to put him in environments that he's going to be in. We build from there. We've done some individual and team stuff, but it hasn't worked out for us to be on the field quite yet. Now, I would also say it might be because of the rain as well, guys.
But not today. Right? I mean, or was
Correct.
it even
right? If they were waiting for a
right.
non-rainy day, today was their day, and
today
there was
would
still
have been
nothing. Right?
Yeah.
It is. It's really odd. I think. I mean, you're confirmed. I watched plenty of these practices. Back in the '90s and even into the 2000s, and even if they weren't doing a full special teams, like you're saying, the fire drill or whatever, anything, the kicker and the specialist would all maybe go to another field and be working in a place where, the big crowd of media wouldn't go follow the kickers because, we've seen Steve Christie kick 1,000,000 field goals. Nobody needed to go do that. But you'd see the ball in the air he was over there kicking. And it's very odd to me that Tyler Bass isn't even doing that.
That's right. And what's wild here is if they had another kicker on the team, I'd say, okay, well, obviously they're not comfortable. You can understand this.
Right.
But we probably wouldn't see that guy. They don't. He's the only kicker. And every time that he talked with us last week. Mike, did we ever talk about this where I did ask him about the jersey thing, the number?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, we'll get to that in a minute if you want.
Okay.
That did happen.
DJ Moore took his number.
But we did. Yeah. I talked with him about it, and
Okay.
I had you totally in mind. I said Mike Schopp said to ask. I really didn't do that, but so
That's fine.
we had, but we did talk with him about this year and his health and his process, and he said that he's been working out for quite a while. He's been in training, the injury recovery, and he said he felt good. He's been kicking, and the Bills had another kicker a while back, a couple months ago. They let go of. So that right there, that day was like, okay, they're good with Tyler Bass. So here we go. Well, we haven't seen him yet.
What is the story on the number switch? Because I must have been on vacation when this happened. I mean, I know he switched numbers, but when you guys talked about it, I mean.
Mike has brought it up a few times, as you might or might not know, like to maybe try and find out what they did to, what did he get? Did he get anything in return from DJ Moore? Like, gave him number 2. So we spoke with Tyler Bass the other day, and I asked him specifically, was there any sort of trade involved for you giving up number 2 to DJ Moore? And he just kind of looked at me, and then he paused, and he said, that's between me and him. I said, okay. Then I saw DJ Moore a while later, and I said, and this was like not even like in a scrub. It was just me. He was standing there, and I saw him. He was kind of headed towards the locker room. I said, I just talked with Tyler, asked him about the number switch, and didn't really give me an answer. What went on there? Did you guys do anything? And he did one of those, like a meme where, I think there's one with The Rock where you have the old eye roll and the smirk and walks away. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like one of those kinds of things. Like kind of a little eye roll with a smirk and not going to say anything. So I think there was something up there, but we don't know what it was.
Did either of you guys see the Devontae Adams video that
I did? It's amazing.
I saw it today. Sal, do you know what we're talking about?
I don't think so.
There's a video. It looks like it's in like the team facility, like a kitchen or something. Whatever. He's talking. There's a few guys milling around, and Adams is on camera, and he tells this story about how when he got to the Jets, there was a rookie who had number 17.
Malachi Corley.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know the name.
Okay.
And so Adams tells the story that he went to the guy and he said, I got $17,000 in my duffel bag right here. Like, what do you say we do some business?
Very relatable.
Right, we do some business here. Like, I would like number 17. And Corley said basically to him, I'm going to need $1 million, dog. Like, he wanted $1 million for his number. So Adams said, I went to Woody, and they just gave me 17. Like,
you got it for free.
So he just pulled rank, went to the owner and said, like, get this rookie out of the. He wants $1 million.
I thought that you were going to tell me that he didn't know that Corley was a rookie, so he literally was offering him this, and he got it from him. Like that Corley, he felt he was a veteran. I got to offer him what I can offer him.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny. Devontae Adams actually kind of lasted longer in New York than Malachi Corley did. I think it seems like.
Yeah.
He was there with. I don't think it was. What was the same year? 24, 1 year, right? Maybe. He played more games for him, I think.
Yeah, when I think of Bass, I think about the one Bills jersey I own it was worn by his father-in-law, Rick Tootin. Bass is or was married to Tootin's daughter. Tootin has since died. That's my one Bills jersey, which means nothing to any of this. But, well, I don't know. It's even strange in and of itself, maybe, that there isn't another kicker in training camp. Isn't there always another kicker in training camp? Like, what are they hiding from? We don't know.
Well, it's a good question. Here's how I'll probably try to figure out, and let's walk through the process here of what they were probably thinking. If they're not going to do a lot of special teams work, and they're pretty comfortable with what they think about Tyler Bass, there's no reason to eat up a roster spot with another kicker. What are you gaining from it? If you get to, week number 2 of the preseason and things aren't going well, you make a call to a Matt Prater. I'm not saying him specifically. He's retired now, and I don't know if he wants to come back. But I agree with you. I'm just kind of probably trying to figure out what they were thinking with this, which is it's not worth the roster spot if we're not really going to do much with it. We've seen Tyler kick ourselves. We're comfortable with it. We're not going to be doing much special teams work. So what would that guy be doing, other than just standing around? Now, they do have an extra punter. I think part of that, though, is, speaking of rookies, you want the rookie to earn his spot. Like, you don't just hand Tommy Doman the job after drafting him. It's just kind of the unwritten rule, right? You don't do that. He's got to come in. He's got to compete for it. You have a veteran there, Mitch Wisnowski. Tommy Doman's probably going to win the job, but you can't just bring him as the only punter.
Is it worth asking as well, if it hasn't already been said here, Sal, like the lack or the relative lack of special teams work? Is there some particular reason for that isn't just how short the camp schedule is? I mean, there are 2 fields, if not more than 2 fields. Like, why wouldn't that be as much a point of emphasis as ever?
It's a good question. I was trying to figure that out today. They did some punting today. There have been special teams periods. Generally, it's punt return, and you see some guys. There are a lot of guys that work through punt return. They do some. I think they do some kickoff, kick return stuff, but the kickers don't kick. They use the jugs machine for that. Today we saw punters punting a little bit. It was more directional, things like that. I think, judging by Jeff Rogers' answer to Tyler Bass, that I just read you the quote, I'm going to tie 2 and 2 together and see. I wonder if they just don't care until they get inside the stadium. Like, we're going to wait till we get inside the stadium. Let's wait until we're inside that environment. We'll start doing everything we need to do once we're on a pro field. Now, that doesn't have to be the smartest way to approach it, and people could say that's not very smart at all. I get it. I understand that. But just judging by the way that he spoke about Tyler Bass and saying put him in environments that he's going to be in, we build from there. We've done some individual and team stuff. Hasn't worked out for us to be on the field quite yet. And then he said, but that will happen later on this week and then again at the stadium.
Okay. I don't need to be around the bend on this. I'm just thinking like that Bass also hasn't kicked in the league since the latest change to the kickoff
That's
rules.
what I was just going to bring up.
That's
Is
a
like
good point.
I last year at this time with the new rules, I was like, you got to be practicing that. You want to height and like get it to the 3-yard line like that or whatever you got to do. Like he missed a whole year of that.
I agree. And by the way, he did say it's by design, all this with Tyler. Obviously, it's not an injury. Right. So, we don't think that's the case. But yes, and he said at some point, what did he say? I just want to read this quote to you. Say, so we take advantage of the walkthrough time because of the tempo that it requires. But at some point, guys have to start working on that stuff. So let's remember, one thing is very important to remember here. The Bills have a practice every day that we go to and we watch. And the public can go to or whatever. That's at St. John Fisher. They also have a walkthrough every night that we can't be a part of. They can do it there. Like, he can kick during the walkthrough. They can do that. And my guess is that's when this is happening.
Bass's last field goal was in the first quarter of the AFC Championship in Kansas City. He hit from 53, hit a couple extra points that day, and then last year was
didn't kick.
Not around.
Right.
All right, Sal, so we had a fight today. Would you call it a fight?
We had several today, but I don't know if I'd call them fights. I called them skirmishes. Okay. What constitutes a fight? Like that I struggled with that today. Do you have to have one punch thrown to call it a fight, or just there's got to be 2 guys throwing punches?
Oh well, I'm not prepared for this.
I feel like one guy throws a punch, then there was a punch thrown. I feel like punches are exchanged, then you've got a fight.
We're going to have to reclassify about 14 Mike Tyson fights as skirmishes then.
Because like if I walk,
there was one punch.
If I walk across the room for no reason and just slug Mike in the face, we didn't have a fight. I sucker punched him.
Right.
That's it. But you need to return fire to have there be a fight, I think.
Well, that's why I did not term these as fights.
Yeah.
Because you didn't see that today. You saw, I believe, TJ Parker might have thrown a bit of a punch, but it was never really returned, and there was a lot of pushing and shoving. I call them skirmishes. There were several of them, and really, there were rookies involved on quite a few of them. TJ Parker, very early in 11-on-11. Later, Jude Bowery in 11-on-11, the offensive lineman rookie. I'll get to the last one in a minute. Before all of that, during one-on-ones, though, it was like every time Alec Anderson and Ed Oliver went at it, they pushed each other around and had words and got into a skirmish. Like it was like 3 times, basically. Mm-hmm. And then the big one that happened, though, was the bigger one. And even though I don't think there was punches thrown, but there was definitely was very heated. People were upset. Dalton Kincaid caught a pass. He went to the ground. It was a nice catch. He twisted his body. I think he kind of got bumped. He went to the ground. And just as he got up, Caleb Elarmzor drilled him back to the ground. Like, I thought, okay, that is unnecessary. Mm-hmm. This is not an environment where you want to do that. Caleb Elarmzor afterwards said he didn't know that Kincaid had gone to the ground originally. And I will say he did go down quick and get up, but he said he was just flying to the football and he's trying to make a play. And he's like, that's football. That's what we do. And yeah, that guy, that's what he's about. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Guys didn't like that very much.
He
though.
seems interesting.
That was the Heat one. Yeah, for sure, Mike.
He seems interesting. This guy.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know. Was it anything, in your opinion, I'm guessing the answer is no, but was it anything specific to the fact that it was Kincaid? Like, there's so much, concentration, even including yesterday, on Kincaid and his sort of his physical well-being. You think it had anything to do with that?
No. I would say this. I think Bulldog had the line right last hour when he said it would have been Kaliki Latu and they would have done this.
They would have done the same thing.
And I agree. I agree with that, Bulldog. What I would say though is once you realize it's Dalton Kincaid, you might get a little bit more of your chest bowing out a little bit there from a couple of the offensive players. You know what I mean? But they're certainly going to come to the party as soon as that happens with anybody.
Yeah, these guys are all our guys, but he's even more of our guy.
That's right. That's
He's
right.
a little bit more there. When Parker early, you mentioned, who was that quarterback? And did he was he like close to Allen or like what happened there?
I didn't see the full exchange. Okay. My apologies. Like there was just a lot going on there, a mass of humanity basically right there. And I just saw these guys get together. So I couldn't tell you that for sure. I would say though, like Josh was out there a lot today. Like they did one-on-ones and Josh, like he threw to a lot of the main guys. There were one-on-ones on the other side with the other quarterbacks, but like Josh was out there a lot today in 11-on-11. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was him. But I don't exactly know what happened in that one. Same thing with Jude Bowery. Like you just don't know. You get over there and he's, there's a tackle on the play, if you want to call it that. He's over there trying to fight for yardage with his guy. Someone grabs him. You step out of bounds. There's a push and shove, and that's how all that stuff starts,
Was this physicality going to qualify as the best of training camp today, or do you want to talk about DJ Moore for that?
I'd love to talk about DJ Moore's catch. You guys have seen the video of it. When I saw it, it's a good way to – I said to Tim and Brad, I said, man, when I saw it, he basically had his head lifted up, looking back over his neck, and Tim said, yeah, it's like the John Stallworth catch on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Baby.
Great. I love that, right?
Super Bowl
I love
14.
that analogy. Yeah, and that's what it was. And you guys see the video there. It was pretty impressive, and that was a really great play. And I think we've used DJ Moore here a few times of the best what we've seen at training camp. But, the other thing that I would say best of what we've seen, I really liked watching the one-on-ones today with the DBs and the pass catchers, not just receivers. And the reason is because there were wins on both sides, and that's what you want to see. The first 10 minutes of it, the defense won a lot of the reps. Last 10 minutes, I think the offense won a lot of the reps, and I think that's what you want to see, and to me, that's a good thing.
Best of Training Camp with Sal Capaccio is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-million.
Have you got the Stallworth catch?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rod Perry.
Yeah.
Collinsworth made a catch in Super Bowl 16 like that, but the Bengals lost.
Yes.
So
I remember that catch.
Just
on the far sideline going left to right.
Yes. It's like his head is more than all the way back behind, like where it should be allowed to go.
Right. Right.
He got a guy on him and made the catch. Not maybe they're different in certain ways, but yes, somewhat similar.
So you mentioned that Moore's been mentioned in this little segment that we do, this sponsored Best of Training Camp, more than once already here in just, it'll be a week tomorrow that they've been on the field. But it felt like today, like looking at my feed today, my social media feed, it feels like there's a lot of DJ Moore today, and you even got on board. Like it's better than you thought it was going to be, maybe.
For sure. I mean, I've always liked DJ Moore from afar. Whether that's fantasy stats or just kind of think of a kind of receiver that just does a little bit of everything. Well, he does a lot of everything, and now he's here and he has Josh Allen throwing to him, and it has been very impressive. He's definitely, been better than I thought. Not only just from a talent standpoint, that's the number one. Like the talent he's really good. Like he can do a lot of things. He does everything well. There's just nothing I can pick apart about his game right now necessarily, but not that I'm trying to do that, because I would tell you that he's not like super great in any area, but he's just so good in everything that it's tough to defend him. He can win off the line. He can win going deep. We've seen that. He runs routes really well. He has great hands. He's going against Christian Benford in one-on-ones and tight window, and he just sticky, strong hands. Benford gets his arms on him, and he just holds onto the ball, right? I mean, like little things like that maybe another receiver doesn't hold onto the ball quite like that. And I really like that. And then the other part of it is just what he's done for the offense. It feels like I mean, I know that we talked a lot about wide receiver guys the last couple of years, of course, but even in camp, we'd be like, yeah, I don't know if these guys are getting open. And you'd see videos like, well, I mean, there's guys getting open, and I think a lot of it's because DJ Moore is helping them get open, and he's getting open, but it's definitely changing the dynamic of what everybody else does.
Well, that's really, I think, maybe the biggest question of all with him. I just don't think he's been a player or will be a player this many years into his career where he's going to affect defensive game plans to that extent. Maybe, but I think what he can do, it probably, hopefully, is win on his own. So then if
that's right.
If that happens, you can get big chunk plays out of DJ Moore. But is he going to did Diggs do this? Maybe.
Let me ask you this, Mike. I think you're making a good point here. Like, and I think I want to get what you're saying here. Like, you mean like going into a game, how many defensive coordinators say we better know where he is, right? Something like that.
Yeah, he's
right?
not on the level of receiver that like you're just
Agreed.
going to double him or even shadow him necessarily. Maybe certain guys.
Bracket him, whatever, yeah.
What I think, though, is, and I think that's right, like how many guys are like that in the league? Of course, you have your Justin Jeffersons, your Jamar Chases.
Right.
There are guys like
maybe
that,
10,
there's no doubt.
Maybe 10.
Right. So that's a tough. But I do think that he will be the kind of player that as a game goes on, a team is going to have to start, maybe, I'm not worry about him, but figure out a plan to make sure you kind of get with him a little bit because the Bills are using him so much, and he's being a focal point of what they want to do.
And then that sort of that even if a team didn't come into the game preparing to do it, if they got to roll coverage at a guy because he's getting off
Right.
on you, then that should affect the other players on the offense.
That's right. That's interesting. That happens only if the Bills throw the ball to him. You know, like
Right.
They establish him, if you will.
That's correct.
And then, okay, then
Yep.
you have to adjust. But if they're not really doing that, then it doesn't really ever manifest. We'll see. That's a fun one to think about.
I can't. Boy, I would be really not only surprised but disappointed, I guess, if Brandon Beane goes out and spends a 2 and a 5 to bring this guy in, and Joe Brady coached him to his best season ever. If they're not doing that right away, that would be. I think it would be malpractice. I mean, you have to. You got to throw the ball to this guy.
That's another interesting element of it. There's always that with certain players on every team. Like, all right, well, here's what management, what their flag plant was, what their investment is, and then does that align with what the coach wants to do? And we'll have to see. What Ray Davis, Sal, all good?
Yeah. By the way, I made a mistake. His best season was in Chicago, 1,300 yards.
Justin Fields.
Yeah, he did have 1,100 yards with Carolina a couple different times when Joe Brady was there. But yeah, so Ray Davis, scary moment. He has the ball. He's carrying it. He fumbled, and there was a big pile. He went down. You know, it wasn't like guys were trying to tackle him necessarily, but there's a fumble, right? And that's what you do. You go on the ball, and he's on the ball. And then as soon as that would happen, there was a defender who starts to call a trainer out. And you're like, oh, this is not good when you have that happen. He was down. Everybody kind of dispersed. The athletic trainers looked at him for a while. He was down for a while, a couple minutes. Then he got up, and he walked on his own to the medical tent, which was obviously a very good sign. And then he came out of the medical tent maybe only 5 minutes later, and he had he had taped up his foot and his ankle, starts doing sprints right away and footwork, and ran right back out there, got in a punt return drill, and then ran some more reps. So hopefully he's okay. Sounds like that. A lot of times, the next day you're feeling it, but the Bills don't have practice tomorrow. So, he'll probably have to get some treatment on that. Deion Walker didn't practice today for the second straight day. But he has his equipment on. We're like, what is going on? He's working with athletic trainers. He told us, though, we know now. He told us after practice he tweaked his elbow, and he's have to start wearing an elbow brace. And someone said, well, why don't you have it on now then? And he said, because I had to get fitted for it, and I got fitted yesterday for it. I would imagine it's a big elbow brace, and you don't just find them, floating around and, order them very quickly. So I think they had to fit one, and he said he'll be back at practice pretty soon. And then C.J. Gardner-Johnson was out there today with athletic trainers. That's good news. He was in T-shirt and shorts. He wasn't dressed, but he was working off to the side.
All right.
I ran into a friend at the National in Chicago who was telling me about his fantasy league. And,
imagine that.
I feel like I have to listen to that because I'm telling other people about mine sometimes. And so I'm, kind of pot committed, if you will. And the guy proceeded to tell me about it, and it sort of blew my mind. First time I ever heard about a fantasy league with punters.
Oh my goodness!
And he said we get bonuses for inside the 20, inside the 10. Bulldog is leaving. Watch the stream.
Yeah.
He's going to leave the room. Inside the 10, and then, shanks are bad. I'm like, so when the Bills drafted a punter, this is like a dynasty league with every position, all of this madness. When the Bills drafted a punter that was important to you, it's like, absolutely. Because that was big. Because he's probably going to be the punter and,
Most fantasy leagues I know of are getting rid of kickers and defenses, and here you go. You guys are adding punters over here.
I know.
to a fantasy league.
Easy with easy with you guys. All right.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry about that.
Back off.
No. Hey, before I go, I wanted to promote and let everybody know Matt Bove and I spent over an hour with Pete Gwelly on the podcast, and that is out today.
Oh, excellent.
And we talked about everything regarding the stadium, future events at the stadium, uniform schedule. I mean, Matt didn't like the jerseys. He told Pete that. We talked about what their process was, how many different kinds of variations of uniforms you can use. We do know the Bills are going to wear their red helmet on Christmas in Denver. Matt had reported that is confirmed. We talked about like a international schedule, what that looks like, end zones, colors for end zones. I mean, you name it. We went through it with Pete, and then even stuff on the Sabres and KeyBank Center improvements, the timeline on that. Events coming to Highmark next year. So anyway, just wanted to say that is on the Always Game Day in Buffalo podcast, and it's at Sal Sports on YouTube, and people listen to it. But over an hour with the president, I think it was really a good listen from him.
All right, good deal.
He's fine at that. When I met him, he was in radio.
That's right.
I was auditioning at a station where he worked, and he was on the air, and I did a live update when he was on the air with his partner, whose name I forget. And that's how I met Pete. So he's got chops.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Thank you, Sal. Enjoy the day off.
All right. You guys got it. Thanks.
All right. Training camp coverage here on WGR is presented by Fiegel, Carr, and Joyce, your border attorneys, and brought to you by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-million.
Punters in fantasy. I just don't even know how I would score it. I was talking to two guys. You guys then, very much different from myself, are kind of sometimes rooting for a team to punt because you have the punter and you don't care if they go on fourth down. You need that net average boosted.
Especially
you're like Kevin Harlan with hang
if you're
time
at the 50 and if you get credit for inside the 20, that's bonus point opportunities.
You got to have that. They got to have that scoring.
God, I couldn't hate this more.
That's a bridge too far because I can't root for a punt. I don't want to boot punting from fantasy as much as I want to boot punting from football.
I see.
Of course, if those guys invited me in, what am I going to do? Say no?
Of course not.
It's a 35-year-old league or something like that. They've got punting though. DJ Moore, what's right to expect? Are you among your friends? Are you somebody that's like, this is going to be great? The guy is so good, or the opposite, or what? 803-0550 to tell us. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog back after this timeout here on WGR. Morale being what it might have been in Miami. Maybe you get a new gear from a guy at this point of his career. You like to think so.
Definitely worth the dart throw, no question, in my opinion.
John Belushi. Here I thought I was taking a chance bringing up the Ronnie Harmon game.
The show ever sounded older.
Died 10 years before that. With Sal Capaccio with Sal had your back.
Beat Dallas in the final. Dallas was going for a back-to-back, and New Jersey got him in the final with Larry Robinson.
That was that year?
Yep.
Jason Arnott?
Yep, righto. Yep.
Oh, as the show ever sounded older. Yep. Bowling math? Like front to back bowling math?
No, never.
Did you ever have to write it down?
Yes.
And figure out the math with a pencil?
Yes.
The show has never sounded older.
Yes.
It's about to sound older when I get to the next thing.
I think I knew how to do that at one time in my life but I have long forgotten.
Hear me sing the Mary Tyler Moore Show theme today. But I did do that.
Right.
As the pre-show ever sounded
I
better.
dropped a little nugget on Mike that I found very interesting. Yesterday, a gentleman by the name of Sonny Curtis passed away. And it's not a name that I was really familiar with at all, but I'm a huge Clash fan. And this is the man who wrote the song I Fought the Law, which is a very famous song that was originally made famous by a band called the Bobby Fuller Four. That's all I ever knew about it, other than that the Clash covered it then in the 70s, is that the Bobby Fuller Four recorded and made famous I Fought the Law. I never knew who the songwriter was. It turns out it was this man, Sonny Curtis, who was an original member of Buddy Holly and the Crickets. Like, so original that before Buddy Holly got famous, he was one of Buddy's sidemen, but had left by the time they became famous and when Buddy Holly passed away. Anyway, Sonny Curtis, in addition to having this tangential relationship to the Clash, my favorite band of all time, also wrote the Mary Tyler Moore theme song and sang it, like on the show. Like, that was him singing that song on the show. All those, it's like one of the, well, I mean, has the show ever sounded older? It's the Mary Tyler Moore Show. It's one of my favorite TV show theme songs ever. And the same guy who wrote this legendary song, I Fought the Law, also wrote this legendary TV theme. And I had no idea. Sonny Curtis passed away at 88.
It's amazing.
Yesterday. Yeah, I thought so. I don't even know. I think it came up because an obit for him came up in my Twitter feed when I got here and reminded me of it. I had wanted in a small
Another day of practice is in the books for the Bills. For the latest on this morning, Sal Capaccio does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. Following practice, rookie linebacker Caleb Alarmzor, he spoke with WKBW's and Always Game Day in Buffalo host Matt Beauvais on who he is learning from going into his rookie season.
Going into this, like, you're trying to learn a lot from?
Coach Leonard, I would say. I mean, he's a mastermind. He's super smart. In the offseason, we were watching film together and stuff and getting right. He's a guy, even early on, like pre-draft, when I came here on a visit, who I really connected with, and, I really enjoyed playing for him.
Coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Fico Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-MILLION. A number of big contracts handed out today. The Ravens locking in wide receiver Zay Flowers to a 4-year, $140 million deal. $108 million of that is guaranteed. Bears offensive tackle Darnell Wright gets a 4-year, $116 million deal. $93 million of that is guaranteed. And then the holdover in Atlanta ends with running back Bijan Robinson getting a 3-year deal worth up to $75 million. But some bad news for Atlanta as pass rusher Jalen Walker is feared to have torn his ACL. Walker is having, though, an MRI to confirm. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
I just like going out there and being able to hear the pads thud, and every now and then a fight happens. It's great. It kind of builds the resiliency and the grittiness of the team, and I think that we need that. I was in on that last one when Dalton got hit. Nice little scuffle standing up, and then we went to the ground. It was a great time. Shout out to the rookie linebacker, Caleb.
Rookie linebacker, Caleb Elarms Orr. Might be, BFFs with Anderson, even though they play on opposite sides of the ball, but just sort of like ready to fight guy, I think. Which, it's football. It's not croquet.
I think,
Not to say croquet couldn't have brawls.
Right. It feels like it would be pretty rare, but those mallets, that could escalate.
Yeah, that could end up being a bigger problem than just sort of a inner conflict.
But yeah, I think every football team needs a few like to fight guys. You just don't want them to hurt any of your
non-like to fight guys.
Right. Yeah.
Or any other guys.
Right. Yeah, or themselves even, because I think Elarms Orr. I was talking about this when you were away last week. Like Williams and Bernard are now in playing, and later in the week we'll get Sal back. He'll be off tomorrow because the team's off. But I believe Bernard and Dorian Williams started doing teamwork the last couple days. This Elarms Orr I feel like is going to get on the field. He's going to make, when Sal and I talked about it, it's like 3 linebackers, at times, and or 3 off-ball linebackers, maybe even, like depending on formations or what. But this guy, I just think, is one of these guys they're going to have to find a way to get him on the field. Is how it's tracking. I mean, it's only a few practices, but it feels like that to me.
4th round pick out of TCU, previously with Cal. Caleb Elarms Orr, 6'2", 225, not huge.
Right.
Sort of a normal size for a linebacker. That is not a little small.
I think that's probably like average linebacker size now. Like Tremaine Edmonds is that's a freak show today.
Oh, yeah.
6'4", 250. Like guys don't play that position that big anymore.
Right.
Feels like.
Well, that's kind of always been true. Isn't it mostly been true over the years? Think of the great linebackers. I mean, inside linebackers, anyway.
How big a guy was Ray Lewis? Was 6'2", 230, probably.
Maybe.
I feel like that's about right.
I wouldn't say bigger.
Right. I don't think he was. If he was bigger than that, it's by a hair.
Singletary, Butkus.
Yeah. All right. Urlacher was a bigger guy, I think. Like
how big?
I think he's closer to 6'3", 6'4", Urlacher.
That's not like
no, but
tall,
it's
though.
But that's the peak though. Like I don't think linebackers have ever been bigger than that.
Edmonds was like lanky.
Yeah.
Especially for his position.
Yeah.
Falcons edge rusher Jalen Walker. That's torn ACL. They think that's the 15th overall pick in the 2025 draft. This is the year where Atlanta
they took 2. Pierce and this guy. Yeah.
The Rams got a first out of them so they could have 2 defensive players, and everybody laughed. And, they didn't win. Now one of them's hurt, which you can't really blame that on the trade. But that would be the season probably, and that's a big loss. A lot of injuries are happening. The Bills just every day trying to dodge the proverbial bullets.
A lot of injuries in their signings. I wanted to ask you, how
Flowers?
Does the Flowers contract seem ridiculous on some level? Like, how good a player are we talking about here?
I wouldn't say ridiculous. I think it's, first of all, I think he's good enough so that it would fit into the sort of the natural course, the natural evolution of contracts.
It's his turn. He's up. So he goes
Yeah.
kind of to the top of the pile?
Literally to the top.
Right, that's what happened there?
Yes. I think he's super good. The team doesn't have much else in terms of receivers, the Ravens.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's nuts. But anytime somebody goes to the top and becomes the highest paid player at their position, and they're not anybody's best player at that position, it sort of looks a little strange.
Yeah.
Robinson with Atlanta, that can work because he might be the best running back in the league.
Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah.
Flowers, talking to Sal about DJ Moore, like how many receivers are there that bend your game plan as a defense? I said maybe 10. He's not one of the 10.
Right. I don't think so either. Yeah. So, but, I mean, I didn't bat an eye at Olave last week when he did this. And
I think that's similar.
Are they? They're probably pretty comparable guys, right? So I maybe I should just get my what together on Zay Flowers, but I don't know. He's got 14 touchdowns in 3 years. It's not like he's crazy production, at least touchdown production. 5, 4, 5. That's his.
They have Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
and Jackson. Jackson doesn't run for touchdowns though. Andrews is a big piece of that. I think Flowers has got to be the favorite this year to lead them in receiving touchdowns. I mean, he's got to be easily the favorite to lead them in receiving stuff. Outside of that, touchdowns, you never know. If Andrews isn't a corpse, then it might still be him. That's a big one, I think, for Baltimore.
He has been really consistent. I got to get 77, 76, 86. Those are the receiving totals on the year. 858, 1,000, 1,200, the yards year by year. 13 yards a catch. It's not in the high teens. I don't know. It just struck me as like, when a team has a quarterback that's pretty good and they got to sign him, so they sign him. Sort of like how Tampa didn't with Baker Mayfield. I feel like this is some version of that. Like, this is our guy. He's this good. His contract's up. So, okay, to the top of the list you go. But nobody thinks, I don't know. It's just a little off to me, I guess.
7 for 143 and a touchdown last year here in the opener.
That should have gotten my attention.
Best game of the year.
That's a great game.
This isn't really going to be fair. That DJ Moore season, like Sal corrected himself and brought up
the
2023.
One with the Bears, yeah.
So I think he had 4 100-yard games. He ended up over 1,300 yards for the year. It was his career high in touchdown catches. It was career high in yards more when he played for Chicago. And then they replaced Fields with Caleb Williams, and then last year his numbers really took a dive. And that's the question about the big question about him. The first base question about him is like, well, was that regression, like physically, or was that just circumstances, or what happened with that? And I think those things are usually a little bit of both. But for the Bills to do what they did, and I think this has been said, I mean, if it were asked, of course it would be said, that they don't have any qualms about him physically. But that can also just change on a dime. I mean, he's been in the league 8 years. He's played almost every week, right, for 8 years.
16, 15, 15, 17, 17, 17. He's not missed a single game since they went to the 17-game schedule.
Right. And he's barely missed any ever.
Right. Yeah, like one game in his second year, one game in his third year.
But he had one particular, it was a Thursday night in Washington, DJ Moore for the Bears that year, and he exploded. It might have been 200-plus yards and 3 scores. It was like the DJ Moore game would be that game for the Bears that year. He had a couple other good to really good games. It wasn't like he wasn't, and I'm not saying anybody else is saying that he was, but it wasn't like a Jefferson year or a Chase year or a JSN last year where it's like every week you couldn't cover him. And this is 3 years ago. It was just, he's talented. He had a few spike week games that you'd love to see this from Shakir in his career once.
Yeah.
Where just like,
I've got the season open.
You can't beat him.
7 for 104 in week 2. 9 for 131 in week, the weeks aren't there. Week 5, I'm going to get in trouble with the weeks. So the week after that, 10 for 230 against Washington.
That's it. Thursday night.
3 touchdowns.
That's it.
There. And then 8 for 51, 9 for 54. Yards-wise, he doesn't have another 100-yard game until Thanksgiving, 13 for 114. He goes for against Minnesota.
Okay.
Sorry, I mixed up the target and the catch line. It's 11 for 114, so whatever. But the numbers are all pretty close.
So it's a really good receiver season. It's probably a wide receiver 1 season, meaning like top 12 in the league. How you'd put it in a fantasy context. Wide receiver 1, top 12. But, not above that. Which is to say what? Nothing new. I still can't really find my footing on him. And I'm listening to everybody. And with Bills fans themselves, it really can be mixed because there's reason to be very optimistic about the player and the opportunity and the fact that the Bills made this investment. That's what a lot of us have been clamoring for. Like it sort of works from a positive standpoint in these ways. But there's also like what they paid for him. And I still think there was a pretty good chance he was going to be cut by the Bears. Like the Bears didn't want him. And it was a contract obligation. For them to get what they got from the Bills for DJ Moore, I think is incredible. So that doesn't, I'm thinking about maybe the first conversation we had with Sal after that. It's like, well, sure, but when you make this trade, he's on your team. You don't have to wait for, okay, well, I think he's going to get cut, and then we'll try to sign him when that happens. Right. And then maybe 10 other teams will want to sign him when that happens. This way, you lock him in. And okay, well, fine. But I think what the trade was and what the money is an implication that this guy is on a higher tier than he really is, in honesty.
I think all of that leads to a narrative that can get you to underestimate what he's going to be capable of.
Okay.
Because I think the trade, I didn't like the trade either. I think I was off the day it happened. But it was kind of jarring that they spent that much on a guy that, I thought there was a chance he was going to get released. But like you just said, if you want to plan your off season and getting a receiver upgrade is something you want to get done, I don't know, can you afford to just wait? Because maybe being patient and waiting hurt him at the trade deadline, hurt Bean at the trade deadline last year when there were receivers in play and he didn't end up pulling one into the boat. And so, I think it's possible he overpaid and knew it and just wanted to just make sure he got a guy. But that does start you from a somewhat of a negative point of view on the player if you're worried about the cost. Now it's over. That draft is over. I mean, it still stings because you could have something else with that if you didn't have to pay the premium you paid. But I think there and the history here everybody eats Diggs' production dropping off before he left and then him showing to still be capable in Houston, especially in New England last year. I think we might be, as a fan base, sort of predisposed to expecting the receiver thing not to work. Coleman hasn't really worked. Kincaid hasn't really popped. Like, it just sort of gets you to it's another guy that Palmer didn't work. Nothing's worked. That none of that means more won't work, but it just sort of you kind of have a negative viewpoint of it. I think heading in.
Yeah, and quickly, I'm happy to talk about this more as we go through the day, but it's easy. I mean, fans pile on Bean for the wide receiver stuff and what Palmer maybe at the front of the line or Coleman at the front of the line, like the guys that have not been. And then there's like 20 names of journeyman guys that have come and gone or even are still here, Hardman, and what does that really amounted to? But he did trade for Diggs. And if you're going to, rag on him for what hasn't worked out, he identified Diggs.
Yep.
He thought it was important. He found the player, and it was a home run. So that's a lot what drafting is. I mean, it's you last long enough at it, you're going to have hits and misses, and I think people try way too hard to put GMs in a box. Like, you're good at it or you're bad at it. And almost everyone is both.
He can't pick receivers or something like that, which I think is nuts.
He picked Davis on Saturday, and that was important to the Bills. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. We'll be right back. almost no time here. This former Bears head coach and Bills defensive coordinator was, quote, roaming the sideline at Bears camp today.
Former Bears head coach, former Bills Dave Wanstead.
Correct. And you can look it up. Dave Wanstead, roaming the sideline.
First name that popped in my head was John Fox, but he's a coach on the Bills now.
Sort of, yes.
That wouldn't be him.
More on DJ Moore after this.
Another day of practice is in the books for the Buffalo Bills. And for the latest on this morning, our own Sal Capaccio does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. And then following practice today, rookie linebacker Caleb Lyons-Orr spoke with WKBW's and Always Game Day in Buffalo host Matt Bove on who he is learning from going into his rookie season.
Coach Leonard, I would say, he's a mastermind. He's super smart. In the offseason, we were watching film together and stuff and getting right. He's a guy, even early on, like pre-draft, when I came here on a visit, who I really connected with, and, I really enjoyed playing for him.
Coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys, by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-MILLION. Bills will be off of practice tomorrow, but be back on the field on Thursday. Ravens lock in wide receiver Zay Flowers to a 4-year, $140 million deal. $108 million of that is guaranteed. Bears offensive tackle Darnell Wright gets also a 4-year deal, $116 million. $93 million of that is guaranteed. And then the hold-in over in Atlanta does end with running back Bijan Robinson getting a 3-year deal worth up to $75 million. But some bad news for the Falcons. Pass rusher Jalen Walker is feared to have torn his ACL. Walker, though, is getting an MRI to confirm. Mets at the Guardians at 6:40. The Yankees host St. Louis at 7:05. Then the Jays are at Houston at 8:10. While for the Bisons, they're down in Virginia versus the Tides at 6:35. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I don't think that's a very good attitude.
It's Mike Schopp.
You don't think? You don't think? But I don't think you should be butting in when I'm talking to my team. You're my assistant, okay? You're supposed to back me up and go get me juice boxes when I tell you. Now go get me a juice box. You know who you're talking to.
It's the Bulldog.
I'm talking to the juice box guy. You're crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm just thirsty. Why don't you go to hell? No, you go to hell. While you're there, why don't you grab me a juice box? I'm no juice box boy, I'll tell you that. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you
it's
are.
Mike
I'm
Schopp
not. Yes, you
and the
are.
Bulldog
No,
on WGR Sports Radio 550.
Mentioning earlier, right after when Sal was on, how I met a couple guys at the show in Chicago that
Punter League.
They have a fantasy league that's gone back. The David Adams League, I guess, has gone back a long time, and they have punters. And I'm not even sure how it would work, like a punter league. And I did get a tweet from a listener named Andrew.
A league with punters. It's not just punters.
No, right. Thank you.
I said punter league first, and that's misleading.
I've been in leagues with coaches where you get 5 points for a win, your head coach, like basically a team
Okay.
stat. But I got a tweet from a listener named Andrew in the 6-3 classic, good word, between the Bills and Browns. Does it need more of an introduction than that? Dave Zastudil for Cleveland led my fantasy team in points that week. He had something ridiculous like 7 punts inside the 20, each going for 4 points in fantasy. Incredible. That is tremendous.
Like a 28-point game from your punter.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I have that box up, and I'm not going to just check to see if it was 7 or I'm not trying to
right. You're not
corroborate that.
Okay.
Exactly. But that game, I had a thought the other day. It's a little bit dark, if you'll permit.
Mm-hmm.
So we had, and we lived it. We had a 17-year Bills playoff drought and a 15-year Sabres one.
And we were on the air for every minute of both.
Right. They overlapped from 2011. Well, the Sabres were in the playoffs in 11.
Well, the Bills drought predated us by a little bit, but still, yeah, we wrote a lot of it out.
Well, it predated our partnership.
Right, but we were both on
the
air, but you're not as a partner.
2000 was my first year, and it was the drought's first year.
Right.
So 2011-12, September of 11 is the beginning of both seasons, and that's when the Sabres drought starts and lasts 15 years. And the Bills had 5 years from there. So you had 5 years where both teams were in their droughts, but it didn't really feel like the Sabres were yet.
Right.
Although 15 is Eichel, and That's pretty dark. So it might have smelled like a drought by then, even though there would be another decade.
Right. Right.
Somehow.
Right. When you're in it, I don't think the Sabre thing felt like a drought until after Eichel got traded. Really, like almost. Like when that didn't work, that it was like, is nothing ever going to work here? Like, kind of is where you get to.
So even maybe a little bit before he was actually traded, but just like when you knew there was no good outcome.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for as long of a period of time as each was, and they were together, there really wasn't much time where we were thinking about them concurrently, like both existing together.
Right.
Like when the first few years of the Sabres drought, the Bills drought, I mean, it was capital D by then. It was like established. They were going for the record. I mean, and for some of those years, it might have felt like there was no way to avoid it. Brady was never going to quit, and they didn't hit the quarterback. They tried with Manuel, but
right, and Lossman.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, just to think about that both happened, they were almost as long as each other. Just to make the playoffs is all, which is insane that it would be possible to do that, especially in hockey, because of how random it is. But still, like, they both happened, but there wasn't too much where we thought about them as happening together.
Right. Yep.
The Bills got there in 17, and, I mean, Eichel isn't dead on the vine yet. By 2017, it's still like, all right, well, just get Gergensons out of here, and let's figure out a way to get Ristolainen out of here, I should have said first, and figure out a way to not give 28 minutes a night to your worst player. And like, all right, maybe this can be salvaged. But yeah, it's just like, it's a little bit strange that they didn't exactly, they did, but in conversation, they didn't exactly coexist.
That's right. Right. The Sabre drought wasn't really a drought until after the Bills drought ended. And for that reason, you never really talked about, I mean, yeah, it just, sure, there was probably like when a Bills season looked over by, Thanksgiving or whatever it would have been, like, well, it'd be nice if we at least had the Sabres, but like they still weren't there yet. But we weren't mad at them yet about it, I don't think, really. I don't know. Opinions probably vary on that. But no, it never felt like
you might not even remember it right.
No, right. Yeah. It's possible.
How you felt at the time.
Right. That's also very possible.
Yesterday, neither of us could remember that they wore those white goat head jerseys. My excuse is I barely watched their games, I think. I don't know if that's an excuse, but I just didn't remember them wearing them. Now I do, I think. The white pants.
Once Zach filled it out, and he said the thing about the pants, and then I remembered the gloves. I remember the gloves being a big thing, and because I loved them and other people didn't, and so it all sort of came tumbling back. But yeah, in the moment when we first were confronted with that jersey, it was like, did they ever wear that? They never wore that, but they did. Yeah, misremembering can be a challenge at times.
I wish I had another sort of step to get to here with this, but I really don't. It was just sort of the realization that they both happened on top of each other, but we rarely talked at least we have this for ourselves, that we rarely, if ever, talked about them as if it were like happening both together and just depressing us further.
We were eternally doomed or something. But no, I even have, you just said that about like, might not remember it correctly. And I know within my Sabres fandom, the lowest point I ever felt was like 17, 18, and I can place it because I was at Holiday Twin Rinks. And the only 2 years of my life I was at Holiday Twin Rinks, like 3-4 days a week, were the 17-18 hockey season and the 18-19 hockey season. Because those were the Regals years, and that was our home rink, so I was there a lot. And I can remember being there on nights where Sabres games were being played, and they had like a 716 size TV in the lobby. of Holiday Twin Rings.
Oh, the show has never sounded older than that reference.
All right. And not that big, but still, a huge TV for a hockey rink especially.
It's
right?
like 70 feet
Just
or something.
a big-ass TV in the lobby, and the Sabres games are on in there. And either of those seasons, both of those seasons, I'd be in there watching the games and be like, I want to go watch my kid practice against other 15-year-olds. Like, that's more – I'm going to get more out of it. Whatever. I'm just mad at the Sabres. I'm watching this, and I'm mad. I'm going to go watch my kid play hockey. I'm not going to get to do that forever, so I'm going to go do that.
This is what year again?
This is 17, 18, or 18, 19. One of the two.
So it's Jack.
Yeah.
It's Kruger, maybe.
Yeah, sure. But you know me. Like, I watched, who was Hackett, the goalie that broke his leg on the last game of the year in Boston. I watched that game because I'm a sicko. There's nothing riding on it, but like, whatever, it's the Sabres. I got to watch it. Like, that's been me. And in this moment, numerous times that season, I'm just like, I'm walking away from the TV. I just don't. And yeah, it was but if the Sabres weren't making me actively angry, I could have skipped a hockey practice, I mean, yeah, it's my kid, whatever, but
you have two.
That I walked and that's way before what I'm thinking of now, that's 9 years ago.
Yeah.
So I was in a pretty dark place longer than I think I thought.
Well, I would say the low point for the Sabres was when, like you already said it, it was after that. It was not the tank or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was when Eichel was not going to work out. And O'Reilly got sad. And then he got traded. And then Reinhart had to go. And when that came apart, even though that team won nothing, I mean, didn't even come close to a playoff team.
Right.
That for me was, well, I mean, Jason Botterill is in charge of this, and Phil Housley. It's just like, that was pretty bad. And wondering if ownership was like plugged in at all.
Right.
And that was pretty bad. The low point for the Bills maybe goes far back enough to like that Browns game.
Right.
When they had missed for it was going on a decade. And it would be almost another one before they made it. I don't think it's Rex. Rex kept us entertained. Those teams were mid. They were 9-7, 8-8 teams. Marone before that.
And Rex was once Pagula, even though the team's fortunes didn't turn around immediately, the ownership being solidified and feeling like the future was more assured, certainly than it had been in a very long time.
Yeah, this is.
I mean, the future of the franchise. I feel like that was a subject from the minute they started the telethon in '98 to redo the stadium that time, and they needed to reach whatever threshold they needed in investment in that. Their existence was always just sort of like you could be worried about it all the time, or only when you thought about it. But when you thought about it, you'd be like, I don't know, Toronto, whatever. It was Pagula really did, even though. The Sabres thing wound the way it did, and even the Bills took a while. There were misfires. It still felt better once he took over. At least, they might not be – they're still pretty inept, but at least they're ours. We know we've got – I don't have to worry about someone stealing this team away from us anymore. This guy's here. He owns the hockey team. The family, they're here. They're stable. And that made a difference for me anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Even though on the field it didn't really get much better for a while.
They had those little spikes, the Bills, in the drought. The Fitzpatrick year, the Trent Edwards experience, 08, 4-0. Mm-hmm. They had those little blips where you had occasion to wonder if they were actually good. But then, naturally, those seasons ended not just short, but disastrously. They both 2008, 2011, right? Those teams both were 4-0, 4-1, 5-1, even 5-2 with Fitz when they beat Washington in Rogers Center,
and they
those teams finished a combined 1-19 or something. It was completely disaster. This Browns game, the famous or infamous 2009 6-3 Browns game. It's the last game the Bills played before my son was born. The next week, he was born on a Saturday, and I was home for an upset win at the Jets when they intercepted like 6 passes or something and beat the Jets. Dick Enberg had the game. It was wonderful. But
wait, is that the overtime game?
Yeah.
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 I don't want to tell the story again.
You didn't go to a concert.
Yeah, right. AC/DC. It was
I was at U2, but AC/DC.
Sitting in here doing a post game for that.
Those were the worst post games. When they won and it meant nothing.
Yeah.
And it might even have been bad that they won. Because you're not getting your better draft pick. You're not getting your coaching change you wanted. You're getting false hope on who the quarterback is. Those wins. For me, that's a game against Jacksonville when we were out at the stadium. Just like, you guys, don't you get it? And, it makes sense. It's people who had just left the stadium and they were happy.
Yeah, right.
And like, okay, well, great. Yay. I'm sorry. I don't care at all.
Right.
I didn't enjoy this at all.
Didn't do much for me
means
at all.
nothing.
Right.
You're not getting momentum into next year. All you're doing is reinforcing the possibility that management will keep believing in guys who are just never going to win for you. Why do you want that? Those were the days. This is not about DJ Moore. It's right now. Okay, so wherever you want to put it, maybe there's a moment in see, the Sabre thing got dark before the drought. 8, 9, 10, or 8, 9. Those years after Briere and Drury left, those were pretty dark, but the playoff drought hadn't started. They made it in 10 and 11.
They bounced back, yeah. Right.
And 11 is the sale of the team.
Right.
So that's, we're feeling good.
Yeah.
Fans are feeling good about things. Then you didn't know it, but they were going to miss 15 years in a row.
Incredible that it started there.
So the low point together is, I don't think it could be before 2005-6. I don't think it could be before that because the Bills drought really isn't in swing yet.
Yeah.
I think it could be 2009. This is that Browns game, and the Sabres they weren't a playoff team. They might not have been terrible. Still Lindy. Of course, he's the coach when they make it back. 2012, where the Bills thing is a decade plus long, and the Sabres are starting now. We're going to trade Ryan Miller, and then in 2 years they're at the tank year is the memorable one. The year before, they were last by 15 points. There was no rooting for the Coyotes or something at the end. Right. They were last by 15 points. The Reinhardt.
Yeah, they aced it. Yeah.
And that's 13-14, and the Bills are what then? That's Marone. I don't know. There had to be literally there had to be some day where it was the worst for both teams, and right now is close to the best.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's for sure. That's right.
I mean, in the last 25 years or ever, maybe it's the late 90s or something, when have they both been sort of this high?
Yeah, I mean, 99 is home run throwback and the finals. Like that, the finals first and then home run throwback at the end of the 99 football season. Obviously, the finals was June of 99. Aside from that, yeah, I think this... I mean, the Sabres have got to show that they're actually here to stay by, having another good year to back up what they did last year. But, yeah, it's about as good as it's been in a very long time. There's as much promise, anyway, as there's been in a long time.
I mean, I guess 99, the Bills were very good. That was a very good Bills team.
The Sabres weren't great, but they had Hasek. So, in 97, they'd won around, and then Lindy comes in, and they go to the Eastern Final and then the Stanley Cup Final. It felt like they had Hasek, and it was just get in and we're going to make your life a nightmare.
Only a handful of times have they both been believable contenders. And that would be, even though they were 7 seed, the Sabres, but still, sure.
You got Dom, you're in it.
1980.
Yeah.
Sabres are a top 5 team in the league. The Bills are too. Arguably.
Yep.
1980. And right now is what? The Bills are, I think, a top 5 team or ish.
Sure.
I mean, they're I mean, the best you could maybe say it is the AFC favorite or co-AFC favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sabres are defending division champs.
Right.
Won a round.
They're not getting a ton of love on the odds at all, but,
Haven't heard a word about them in weeks now.
No.
We're at the cottage. Are we back from the cottage yet?
No.
We're still at the cottage.
Yeah.
Did that just... Are we still playing poker, you think? Or are we just out?
I mean, none of the it's funny. I did this. Owen was in for G on Friday, and Zach.
You drafted.
We drafted. We did the preseason fantasy football draft.
Great time.
I can't believe you didn't hear about it in Chicago. Well, we did a segment that was just like, hey, Owen, you work on the morning show. Have you talked Sabres at all in like a week or more? Like, no, not really. I'm like, yeah. Us either. Hellebuck is still out there. Like, they wanted to do that. Winnipeg wanted to do that. Like, maybe are we just waiting for what? Someone to pick up the phone? Someone to come back from the cottage? Like you just said. Like, I don't know what we're waiting for. But it is all sort of fallen together in a way that it's a little like the Bills' offseason. Or really the decision to move on from McDermott and just the way that it was all handled. The process, every time I think about it and start talking about it, it makes me really worry about them, but none of it has to matter. Like, however Pegula got to the decision he made and however nonsensical much of the press conference was, disastrous, it's still Josh Allen's your quarterback. If Brady's half decent at this, they're probably about what they've been, which is a real live contender to go to the Super Bowl. Brandon Cooks, catch the ball, please. You come down with that ball, you're going to New England the next week, and they couldn't beat anybody at that point. But they managed to beat Jarrett Stidham in Houston when C.J. Stroud was just horrendous. So, it doesn't. They're probably still the same. The Sabres' point is, like, I really believe, going all the way back to the trade deadline, like, they wanted to do big stuff then. They really didn't. In fact, the stuff they did maybe actively made them worse with Stanley and Shen and whatever, just nothing. And now in the summer, it's like, oh, we're open for business. We got the 4th overall pick. We got the 20th overall pick. Matthew Nyes, Connor Hellebuck, Jason Robertson, like whatever. It's crazy. And I get a defenseman that honestly very few of us had ever heard of, but it's a good idea, fine. And you wanted to do. I think they were this close to getting something done for Hellebuck. The Trocheck stuff that I had tells me they were ready to move on him to replace something they were giving up for Hellebuck. It was all going to happen, and it just didn't. And so if they wanted to do all that and haven't, how psyched do you want to get about what they've got? Like, if they just roll out in October and this is their team, none of this means that can't work. But they wanted to do stuff, all caps.
Well, that doesn't make it better if they did do those things, though. Like you just pointed out,
right? It does.
Deadline.
Right.
But you don't want your team. You want to think of your team like that,
right? You don't want to think.
You don't want to be afraid of moves.
I don't want the players to think like we can't do anything. What are we doing? Well, I'm sure they all love one another, but like if they got Connor Hellebuck on the team and a guy that they sat next to in the locker room got traded, like, yeah, man, we're better. See ya. Like it's a win.
It's business.
So if you don't do that, it just leaves you. It just leaves me like, I don't know. This is, you're going to tell me this is your plan and you believe in it, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't. And that freaks me out a little. But again, just like the Bills thing, however clumsy Terry Pegula sounds at a news conference, isn't going to mean anything to Josh Allen dropping back in December or January. So they're completely separate things. I think the Sabre point works in the same way. So I'm trying to not get bogged down by what they didn't do. But it's kind of hard. They have definitely not improved.
Right. Well, the other side of the coin in this one is that it was always likely to be a back and forth that still doesn't have to be considered dead yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the Jets still have a player that they maybe are expecting to divest of. And you'd love to know what the difference is between the two sides. Like, what is it? Who's holding up this trade? Is there one player the Sabres won't let go of? Or is there one thing the Jets, that's the same point, have to have? Like, who's the guy that's blocking this trade? Or is it even Hellebuck? I don't know. But we're into August, and there hasn't been a peep about it in a long time.
I think it all getting past July 1st and no trades kicking in really, I think, is what the culprit. That is my guess. I can't say that I know that, but the timing, even Yarmo's, what did I say on free agency day? It's 4 hours into free agency. He's having a news conference. Like, he's basically saying we're done. Yep. And I think that was like my guess is Winnipeg came in late with like after no trade clauses were there and went, oh yeah, you know what, we'll do this, and we can't now, thanks, and then let's call a news conference. I'm done.
Listener on Twitter tweets, Jay Redshow is the name, that 2026 is the first time the Bills and Sabres have each won a playoff round the same year since 1993. May Day and the comeback game. And the only other time besides that is 1981. 3 years ever have they each won rounds? Huh? Yikes. I guess. The Bills did not win a playoff game in the 70s.
That doesn't feel good.
They didn't win one from 82 until 88. They didn't win one from 2000 until 17. So, and Sabres have taken Sabres didn't make it for 15 years themselves. Didn't win a round in the 82 to 93. Yeah, I guess.
Yep, that all tracks.
All right. Memory lane, for what it's worth. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 803-0550. This is WGR.
Another day of practice is in the books for the Buffalo Bills. For more on today, our own Sal Capaccio does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. No practice, though, tomorrow for the Bills. They'll be back on the field on Thursday. And coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys, by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by the Barnes Firm. Car crash, you've got to call the Barnes Firm, 1-800-8-MILLION. Ravens lock in wide receiver Zay Flowers, 4 years, $140 million deal. $108 million of that is guaranteed. Bears offensive tackle Darnell Wright, 4 years, $116 million deal, $93 million guaranteed. And then the holdover in Atlanta does end with running back Bijan Robinson getting a 3-year deal worth up to $75 million. Not all good news, though, for Atlanta, as pass rusher Jalen Walker is feared to have torn his ACL, though Walker is having an MRI to confirm. Mets at the Guardians at 6:40. Yankees host St. Louis at 7:05. The Jays are at Houston at 8:10. And then the Bisons, they're down in Virginia versus the Tides. That one at 6:35. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Caller 5 at 716-221-4WGR. That's 4947. Wins a pair of tickets to see Jeff Foxworthy August 19th at the Erie County Fair Grandstand, courtesy of the Erie County Fair. Tickets on sale now at ecfair.org. Bisons are home. Hate to correct, but you might want to go because it's perfect out. They're home this week starting tonight, 6:35 against Norfolk. Norfolk is terrible. We talked about this yesterday.
Came up yesterday.
Let's go. Wouldn't you love like a good Bisons run here?
Good Bisons run.
The Bills and Sabres are both good for the first time in history.
Some $2 hot dogs tonight. I imagine that's Tuesdays. So giddy up.
Exactly. Jack Nedrow is pitching.
I mean, make it. How could it be any better? Wait, who'd you say is pitching? I
don't know this name. He's young.
I've got Rogers on the thing they just tweeted out here. I don't know.
Oh, wait a minute. I have that too.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Rogers. Nedrow pitched the last game.
Okay.
Maybe. Jack Nedrow. Don't ask me anything else about this.
Number of people in our audience who know either of the people we're talking about.
Grant Rogers has been. All right, something's got to give. Grant Rogers, 2-8, 5.52. Versus Trace Bright, 0-8, 7.39. Bet the over.
All right.
Do you know your Salem Field wind stuff where you could predict, like when the Blue Jays were here, predict the
I don't
scoring
because
of the wind and the weather?
But it's a pretty calm day, although downtown can be different because of the proximity to the water.
It's always windy there, isn't it?
It's often windier there than it is, but here it's just completely still right now, which is perfect.
They're saving Tyler Bass, the Bills, maybe, for the stadium. We talked to Sal about this, and we'll have this later. Just what is going on? Why is he in hiding, basically, it seems. This stadium, which opens Saturday, the scrimmage is Saturday, days away, minutes from where we're sitting, days away. This stadium had better, with all the thought that's gone into the wind control,
neutralizing panels.
It had better be on the Pittsburgh level. If you've ever followed Pittsburgh games, the Steelers, their kicker never misses. And the other team's kickers only miss. You can look it up.
Is it
100% success rate for Chris Boswell versus 0% for all the other kickers?
And isn't it also slanted one end versus there's an open? The one end is more open air than the other end.
They are up to something. I was at a Pitt game. Pitt Panthers play there, Heinz Field. It's not called that anymore. I have a T-shirt that says we still call it Heinz Field.
Didn't you see Fernando Mendoza play for Cal? In the
Fernando Mendoza was the Cal quarterback. It was California against Pittsburgh. That was a league game, conference game.
Sure.
Cal and Pitt. And I saw Mendoza
in the big New Zealand conference. It's called
the BNZ.
Yeah.
I saw Mendoza. I'm like, oh, he's fine. and the Pitt kicker made like a 58-yard field goal. And I'm sitting around Pitt season ticket holders. My son and I bought tickets like at the stadium on my phone, right? We're sort of like 50-yard line, suite level. We did it right. And great people. Like all the people around us for Pitt were just really into it, and they knew everything. And I knew nothing. Couldn't name a single player. And I said, it wasn't my place to speak. You need to know that in life. It's helpful to know that in life when it's not really your place to speak, because everybody around you knows more about whatever the subject is. So my grandmother always said, the less you say, the more people think you know, which is ironic because look what I chose for a profession. Mm-hmm. So here I am with my son in Heinz Field. He and I are talking, but I'm just sort of listening to everybody else. And Pitt lines up for like almost a 60-yard field goal. Like, oh, he's going to make it. This is Pittsburgh. Nailed it. Everybody else was in disbelief. Like, nope. I've watched enough Steeler games to know Pittsburgh always makes their field goals at home and never does the other team make a field goal. And I think maybe Cal lost on a block kick. I think they lost on a miss. So this Bills place, they better know somebody with the Steelers that's got the inside word on how to arrange that. But I'm thinking that the Bills will make all their field goals and their opponents will never make a field goal this year. Because all the science, Bulldog, the science that's gone into the construct and the wind in this place. Don't you think? You with me? You don't look like you're with me on this.
I wasn't sure if I should talk. I don't know a lot about this subject. This was waiting.
Funny.
I thought I was getting back into it, and then you brought up science, and it was like,
that's funny.
Let me just back away again. But yeah, I mean, you're going to hear it again. But the best. I'm so glad you thought to bring that up today. It was appropriate. The special team. I knew the special teams coordinator had spoken today and was asked about it, so I'm sure it would have come up anyway. But it's just
where is the guy?
It's just very, very odd that I think I would say more than us not seeing him kick. I think it's really odd that they don't have another guy here just in case, because again, Sal laid it out though. Like they are doing stuff in the evenings that no one is watching, and maybe they've all watched everybody. Maybe even Terry Pagula has sat in his SUV with his arm hanging out the window and watched Tyler Bass kicking 55-yard field goal after 55-yard field goal, and they all feel great about him and like, okay.
But what is he, Roy Hobbs, at middle of the night with blood on his shirt?
I don't know. It's just weird. Yeah, I can't believe
sneak him in?
That you got a guy that didn't kick, was injured so severely that he had surgery, didn't kick all last year, and you don't have a guy here already, just in case. Like, I don't know, man. It just seems they really are standing behind the idea of this guy, and I think it's kind of disproportionate to what he's really earned. I mean, he's fine, but like, he's not the greatest kicker ever or something. He doesn't have the leg the Dallas guy has or something like that. Like, oh no, that's our kicker. You shut your mouth. This is our kicker. It's not like that. And there's not even a guy here for training camp.
Well,
it's just very strange to me.
They get some benefit of the doubt, because they've always had a second kicker, and this year they don't think they need one, so they must not be too worried, like Sal said. But, yeah, he's out there late at night, and then he spots Sal up in the bleachers with a camera, and he starts kicking the ball at Sal. Don't ever look back, Sal! Never! And he breaks the camera with his perfectly placed kick, like Roy Hobbs. I don't know. What would be any explanation for it is what we're all kind of hitting at.
The only explanation is he is kicking the ball great when he kicks it, and therefore there's no story. That I think is what they would tell you.
Sal brought up the 2-minute offense thing and how
the fire drill,
the fire drill. You practice,
right.
Spike the ball, or clock is running out of timeouts, and the offense hurries off the field, and the kicking team runs on the field. They don't even have that. You don't even have them out there just to pretend. He doesn't have to kick it. He just has to get in position, and they blow the whistle like, time.
All of this is being filed away, and God forbid, like any special team stuff. I mean, put the kicker aside, but as Salas said, they're doing punt stuff. If anything on special teams is not buttoned up, and we've had a week of training camp where it seems like they're not doing as much as they normally do, or just Tyler Bass just misses kicks the first game of the year, I don't want to keep doing this job. It's going to be insanity. Not that it'll be wrong. I mean, but
it might be wrong.
Everyone's going to remember you guys were talking in the summer about how they weren't doing the stuff? Well, maybe that's a problem.
When they lose their first game after the starters don't play in the preseason, it's because the starters didn't play in the preseason. When they lose their first game because the starters played in the preseason, it's because how come you didn't rest your starters in the preseason? Post hoc ergo propter hoc. Whatever, whatever happens, we'll figure out what our reasoning is going to be, explanation is going to be. Like on this one, well.
Do you remember, home run throwback happened? Like Bruce DeHaven was still the Bills special teams coach. That was a constant. But there was, Marv was so special teams, third of the game, so important, so emphasized it.
Third of the game.
All of this. And I don't think this just happened because of home run throwback. I think before home run throwback even, I don't know, Wade doesn't seem to emphasize special teams as much. They don't work on it as much. He's not involved in it like Marv was. I don't know. And then you got home run throwback.
Then you had punt catcher.
Chris
Watson was the punt catcher, not punt returner. He was it's more of a punt catcher.
Yeah.
Punt catcher.
Wade. Oh, man.
Just let it bounce.
Yeah.
Who needs a punt catcher? There's no rule that you have to catch the punts. Just don't. The ball isn't round. You might get a break. If you don't want him running with it, just let it. Let's see what happens. No risk of a turnover. Oh, where is Tyler Bass? Well, Sal said he talked to him.
Yep.
Not that Bass told him anything about the jersey. He wouldn't speak on the scandalous subject of how his negotiation with DJ Moore went. Fair enough, but he's not on the field. He doesn't practice now.
I hope he got a new kitchen or something out of it.
I would like to think so. Something that would be a good prize on a game show.
Yeah.
Do they still have game shows?
I don't know. I don't watch TV.
I think every game show I know of now, I don't mean reality shows, but game shows are just like remakes of good old game shows, and they're all horrendously bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I turn games on, and that's all I use my television for. I don't watch
game shows.
I just watch ball games. That's it.
Wow.
Especially in the summer, I'm just out.
You're lucky you're married.
I don't even know what's on. What's people are buzzing about on HBO Max or anything.
I'm watching the Traders Canada.
Once the weather gets nice, I'm outside every morning instead of in the basement watching whatever HBO.
Evenings for me. Don't put me on I'm watching during the day when it's sunny out, but at night.
Right.
Traders Canada. Try that. Peacock. The Hall of Fame game is Thursday night, by the way. Jonathan Brooks will not play for Carolina. Good sign for Jonathan Brooks. He gets the starter's treatment in the Hall of Fame game for the Panthers. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, 803-0550. This is WGR. Tonight, 7:30, ADP Chasing Bulldog, squarely in the fantasy season. I was thinking about making your vacation coming up really like fantasy-centric in here every day.
Good.
Not the whole day.
I can't wait to come home to the ruination of the show that I've spent the last 25 years of my life building with you.
It'll be so terrible.
Hey, man, do what you got to do. I mean,
What are we doing with DeJean Stribling, the one surviving 49er?
I mean,
what are we doing?
I thought I flew the flag proudly on Friday with the preseason fantasy football draft. There, some people hated it. Which,
perfect.
Good.
Sounds like it went perfectly.
Went great.
Exactly what should happen.
Went great. Frank Gore Jr. was the first overall pick.
Frank Gore Jr. So you're running preseason stats?
Yeah. Running. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I say we've got the rosters. I've got it set up so we can keep track of the scores.
PPR?
You know me. Somebody else has got Zach. You're in charge of of how it's scored. I'll go through the box scores and do that. But like the rules, I don't know. None of that was really determined. But I did spend. I can't say out minutes of my life drawing those straight lines on that sheet to get it to look as.
Looks pretty good.
I was pretty happy with what I did.
This Saturday is the scrimmage. Next Saturday is the preseason opener, Carolina, 1:00. Who do you have? Who's your stud? Do you go studs and duds?
No,
Studs and duds is tough in preseason.
I love everybody on my team.
The quarterback?
I think I got Kyle Allen. Zach got Shane Buechele. Owen doesn't have a quarterback. Josh Allen went undrafted. We're not expecting him to play. I mean, if he plays, then we got burned. Owen picked Dawson Knox, which I thought was the dopiest pick of the whole thing because I don't think he'll play at all in the preseason.
We don't know from Brady yet.
I know. New coach. I like my team. It would stun me.
I can't wait to follow it.
I think Brady will go farther with not playing guys in preseason than McDermott did.
Because he's 36 years old.
Right.
Yeah, I would guess the same. We'll see. Will Graves, our AP writer from Pittsburgh, joined us earlier. That's next on WGR.